Luttsy, Ryan, thanks for coming along to the bit of chat. So just a bit of a top line intro on both yourselves. So Luttsy, you're in the radio space.
I am, yes.
David Lutteral, for those who don't know.
It's a very serious start. So I'm just putting my phone on silent.
He lives with the headgear on all the time. Morning and afternoon.
This is how I...
And Ryan, you're a professional horse jockey.
What have I told you about saying professional?
Professional
I don't
horse
think
jockey?
there's such thing as an amateur one.
Well...
What are you trying to say?
No, not you. You go good.
Oh.
I guess there is no such thing as an amateur jockey. Though,
There
is
is.
there?
Well,
technically
yeah, there is when you're beginning.
Yeah.
Well,
I just say I'm a jockey, I don't say I'm a professional.
Well, you are.
Well,
By definition, you're a professional jockey.
That's
You earn money riding horses.
Correct.
Yes. Well, that's professional.
Professional. Doesn't mean you're good.
You're professional a lot of other things as well.
Professional doesn't mean you're good. It just means you earn money doing what you do occasionally. But you are quite good.
So
Thank
speaking of professional, how did you get into the profession of being a jockey then? Because you
Um,
were obviously an amateur at some stage.
Well, yeah, obviously. No, I was brought up in obviously you know my story a little bit, but brought up in racing. My dad was a jockey, and yeah, my dad ended up being a horse trainer, and yeah, I pretty much just lived my whole life when I was younger around races and running around the racetrack, playing footy with kids, and all of a sudden you get interest of the actual horses that's actually going on in the day. That'd be like you going and drinking at the races.
Yeah. Well, I'm privy.
Sometimes there is races on.
Yeah. Sometimes I've been to the races and not seen a horse run.
Because you were
that's the actual truth.
You were at the horses as well when you were younger.
Yeah, I used to go with my old man when I was I guess 10, 11, 12. Dad was he wasn't a big punter, but he probably punted a bit beyond his means and
So you're an
in the
amateur
early
punter.
days. And I used to have pretty good success as a 12-year-old, just having $1 quinellas, and sort of I used to just have the favourite with whatever sort of Chris Muntz was riding, or I think Jimmy Byrne. Is he that old? I think
He's
he was.
old.
I think he
Yeah,
was
he's-
around when I was a kid. Hey,
He's
a
like
fossil.
ancient.
and they used to get.
Jockeys age really well though.
Oh, some of them do. Some of them are like. There's a couple of the Sydney-based ones, and they've got so many. Who was that one that I saw? Holy shit, he looks 80.
When?
Oh, Sydney jockey. I remember. I'm just pulling out names now. Was there one that used to be called Gavin Duffy?
Yeah.
He looked pretty old. They look weathered. They have a tough life. I feel like they have a tough life.
Because
Like,
they're
he
fucking
doesn't.
sweating all the time.
Yeah, that's hard. It's hard work. People don't understand how hard jockeys work, like to get themselves back to back. It's a tough life for some of them. They spend half their lives
The
in
early
those
mornings.
like like when you get caught like out in the forest for 4 days and they put those blankets over you. Well, he wakes up.
Does that happen a lot, or
You know those
His
like
conception of
That's a Sunday
losing
morning.
weight is
you know
way
those
different to
shiny
mine.
blankets like when you got hypothermia.
No, I think that's when
like,
you're gonna die.
he wraps himself in that like 6 times a week. I don't know why.
I remember for one of the Magic Millions, just run along the beach, and we had that. You had that sweat thing. You had the full actual
yeah.
That's what I'm
tracksuit.
talking about.
Yeah,
So
the
Luke, Me
tracksuit.
and Luke usually, it's a thing every year. We go to Magic Millions and stay the night, and we get a penthouse somewhere at the Gold Coast. And yeah, I'm obviously always riding, and everyone else is out drinking. But anyway, Luke used to be a runner, so he'd come out running with me the morning of the race. We get up real early, just after the sun come up was a bit warmer.
So you run the day of Magic Millions.
Day off to lose weight.
God,
So I put the
yeah, I know
sweat
that.
gear on, so I'm like fucking rugged up, and Luke's just got a pair of shorts and runners on, and we run all the way down the Esplanade and all the way back. It was like one of them days where it's like 9 o'clock, and next minute it's 37 degrees.
Yeah.
It was hot.
And I was like, fucking strip our clothes off and straight into the ocean. And
Nude, to tell you.
yeah. So I walk back.
Doing
walk
salmons in
back.
the water.
This
Silly
story
salmon.
doesn't feel comfortable. Like,
It was
I said we could talk about
like,
anything. Yeah?
if I'm sitting on Surfers Paradise Beach just going over the form on Magic Million days, I see you frolicking in the surf with some dude with a beard.
Is he
I'm like, you
sweating
know
or
what?
is
I'm
he
going to
out drinking
put a
on
that?
line through everything that Wiggins is riding today.
I remember I had to walk home in my undies with all the sweat gear
What?
stuff. Yeah, with all the sweat gear because I couldn't put it back on because it was all wet.
Like,
yeah.
I don't recall
It was
this.
awkward. We nearly got arrested.
Magic Millions day every year is notoriously 40
And you know what?
degrees.
We weren't even drunk.
Yeah, no, that's the worst bit.
That was before 9.
Yeah.
That was a good day though.
Oh, Magic Millions day is a good
The
day,
best
but
day.
geez, it's hot on course. You want to be in air conditioning. Otherwise, it's
Luke
brutal.
went, was it last year or a couple of years ago when the aircon broke down in the members?
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah.
Oh my
It
god!
was a night. Well, it broke down everywhere.
All
I
these,
was
all these
out.
old guys
Oh.
fucking sweating through their jackets, and they're like, "Hey girls, how are you?" And they're like, "Fuck off."
That was bad. That was actually bad. We were in one of those like marquees, but where they have the big tubes of air conditioning going through the roof, and that had broke. There was one vent, and everyone was just huddled around it, trying to get some air. It was bad. Yeah.
COVID dream right there.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
Oh
But,
my God.
Anyway, so it's Magic Millions.
And going back to jockeying, so when you you got into it through your dad, essentially, rocking and rolling in there. How long before your first race and getting in the ring?
I think I was about 17 when I had my first ride. We do this thing called trials, and they're like practice racing they do for young horses. You do 10 of those, and they can tick you off, and whether you look like you're good enough to be riding, professionally.
What's good enough? So you're just going to be tiny or what?
No.
You gotta have balls, right? Like, early on, like,
scared.
Oh,
you're not
dude.
scared.
that would be the
You know,
first.
when you're a kid, you don't give a fuck about anything, mate.
Yeah.
You ride a motorbike, you jump off a fucking cliff, do whatever. It's
But I mean, that's how they'd like the cream would rise to the top as the youngsters.
Who's
got the
you
most? I think that's
you
why
gotta be fearless a bit.
I think that's when you're young, you're at your most fearless. Like now, these days, I thought, I used to do fucking stupid things. Like anyone to do anything. When you're a kid, go, fuck, I was stupid back then. I could have hurt myself.
Yeah.
But back then,
I was reading about all your like younger stories.
Yeah,
in
it's
Sydney.
not good.
We'll get to that later.
Yeah, this is news to me. Can we get into that?
And I was like,
Apparently you're a
fuck,
lunatic.
I've done some stupid things in my life.
Yeah.
But, you have to be a little bit fearless. But same thing.
You're fucking insane, bro. You're like a Formula One driver on another thing you actually can't control with no safety cage, no
Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah. It hurts when you fall.
No, I bet it does. And it's not like for anyone. If you've ever ridden a horse, like when like I've only ridden a horse a handful of times in my life, but your legs are around. Like you guys are literally just almost standing on top of the horse. There's nothing. You're not attached to it really at all. Like it's pretty freaky when you break it down. Then the amount of power you're talking about that you're underneath you.
But it's hard. Like you explain to people and they go, it's just like riding a bike for me. See, for like you get back on a bike, you wouldn't get on a bike for 10 years and you jump back on one.
Yeah.
You'd ride it straight away. It's like a horse. Like you get taught something young enough.
But they're all
You'll
different.
always
though.
pick it up. And
That's the thing. They're all like live creatures, so they have
Yeah.
have like a different. Oh yeah, yeah. Their little tweaks and niches.
yeah, they
They're
do.
big dogs, aren't they?
Yeah, big dogs.
So,
They don't
you know,
bite. Thank God.
No,
Not
but-
many of them anyway. They do bite, but
Yeah.
not as bad.
But they're
They
unpredictable.
generally, as a rule, they like humans. But yeah, it's like riding a bike. Everyone had asked me, I just say it's like riding a bike. Like I learned that from a young kid, and it'd be like yourself. If someone taught you how to surf when you were 6 years old,
Just jump
all of
back
a
on.
sudden you can surf.
So when did it become something you knew that was a career?
I think you do it for a while, and it's all weight related. Like my dad had to retire because of his weight. So if your weight doesn't take over your life, sort of thing, where it's controlling your life more than the racing is, or you can deal with it, and you think you can make a career of it, and yeah, the money's good, obviously, but it's dangerous at the same time. I've got friends that are in wheelchairs, and I've got friends that I've seen die. You know what I mean? And it's hard, but I've had friends that have died in tragic accidents as well. So it's like I see that one of those things you can fall off and hurt yourself doing something you love doing, or you can walk out in the street and get fucking hit by a bus.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah, true.
You've been some gnarly falls as well.
yeah, it's been good. I've been lucky.
I tell you what, one thing about jockeys though, they're the hardest motherfuckers around because even like you would fall off, break a foot or something, ride for 3 days, and he's just, nah, it'll be good. And
the turnaround.
Like I hurt
goes to the doctor and he's like, oh yeah.
I hurt
Tell 'em that
myself. I hurt myself with Luke one day and on a horse sort of thing, and I said, "Oh fuck, my back's been sore." And it was like fucking it was New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve.
So I was like, a couple of beers, and oh no, my back's all good now. A couple of painkillers. Next we
Beers
were
will
out
do that.
partying all night at the racecourse actually. At the top, they used to have a rooftop bar at the Eagle Farm there, and they used to have a big party for for New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve, yeah.
Anyway, we had a big night, and my back's fine. Like I was being a bit of a sook, My,
Little fucking
my
blind,
missus is telling me to stop being a fucking sook. Anyway, the next day I got up, I couldn't fucking walk. Like I couldn't get out of bed.
Jesus.
Yeah, and I said to Luke, my back, so I just go to Cairo a couple of days, rode for 2 weeks. And then I ring Luke one day. I said, "You wouldn't believe what fucking happened." He goes, "What?" I said, "I fucking broke my back."
It's been riding for 2
2
weeks.
weeks. I jumped off a horse one day at Sunshine Coast. I'm far out. I can't. It's not normal. You know what I mean? So the next day, I actually went to the doctor early on and just got what they call a CT scan. And he said, my doctor said, "No, there's nothing there." Like, and then 2 weeks later, I went and got an MRI scan. You got 2 cracks in your vertebrae. So I go to the doctor, say, "How the fuck did they miss that?" And he goes, "Well, I don't know how they missed that, because as soon as he got the x-rays out, he could clearly see
Called
what it
straight
was."
away.
Yeah, so I rang Luke. I said, yeah, I've been, I think I got 2 broken vertebrae in my back. He goes, "You're a fucking lunatic." Like, we're out riding jet skis a week later and that sort of shit. So I was like, anyway.
So what do you when you like? How do you make money when you're injured? Like, there's no.
We get workers' comp.
Oh, you do, right?
If, only if it happens at
On the job.
On job.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a touchy subject because it's only the last 6 years they've started paying us super, and now, but we've had workers' comp for a good for as long as I've ever been riding, that's for sure. They used to pay us 80% of our wages, but they don't now. They're capped at $1,200 a week.
So is there like a jockeys union or something?
Yeah, we have a jockeys
you're in a
union,
union?
Australian Jockeys Association.
Yeah.
And we have Australian Jockeys Trust.
That's good.
Yeah, that looks after injured and that sort of jockeys.
That's awesome.
So
Just like
if
I don't
anyone
know,
has
I feel like there's a funny skit like the jockeys union meetings, just these little fellas like yelling out. I just see this bunch of like little like angry guys.
More pain.
I'm just like,
we love a strike.
because like I don't even know like what you like. Technically, I guess I'm a journalist. Like my union, whatever, is the.
Your bio said,
you're part
Luttsy,
of
that you're an
union.
Australian professional journalist or TV and radio presenter.
Yeah, so it's a
So
tough
you're
one.
professional.
Yeah, I'm
Professional,
a professional or something. But as far as unions are concerned, if I pay my union fees, I'm like in the MEAA, which is like the Media Entertainment Arts Alliance, and it's actually the same. It's like journalists, a bunch of other things, and strippers.
Are you serious?
Yeah. So sometimes I literally think
Do
of
they have
just
an awards night?
marching on Labor Day just because. I mean, and what sort of stripper is going to turn up at like 8 a.m. to a Labor Day march? Like, I guess they could go
It's a big
straight
night.
straight from
So
honey.
Honeybees.
they
best
going
time.
to pay in the union or what?
I don't know. I don't know what their goal
How'd
is,
you-
but
Like how much money?
I've
do you
hurt
earn?
myself at work. What happened? I slipped on the pole.
Can you prove to us how much money you've earned the last month? Cannot.
I cannot
Cash
do that.
only.
$500.
Cash only.
Yeah, so that's for real though. I'm in the same union as strippers. So
That's
yeah,
cool.
my union's better than your union.
At least
Wow.
you got a union.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, exactly. You got to have one.
I don't have a union.
Well, yeah.
Mine's a school. Yours is go broke. Good luck,
Luke's, if he
motherfucker.
fucks up, if Luke fucks up, he goes bankrupt.
Yeah, that's it. That's what
I'm
I'm
going MILF hunting then. So, Luttsy, I was doing a bit of research about you as well, and you got into your actual intro into the radio and the media is pretty interesting. But I saw you started at a place called, this is what the internet says,
Yeah. I'll tell you now.
FM 88 Hyper Radio in Aspley.
Yeah, that's actually true. FM 88.
Sounds like the most fucking mad radio station in the world.
It was bizarre because it was like I was just reading like the local paper one day. I think I said this on your podcast as well, and like there was a story about this picture of this guy in front of a microphone saying, FM, hyper shoppers entertained by radio and Asprey. I'm like, what is this? Because I always had an interest. As a kid, I was like came through that sort of Billy Birmingham Wide World of Sports kind of era. So and cassettes had been cassette decks had been invented, so you could press play and record your own voice. So we used to sit around just doing that at home. But I never had any genuine sort of even through to grade 12 thought that I could ever get a career out of media. Like I genuinely don't think I even remotely thought that was possible. Just tried to get into uni, got into an arts degree just because that's what you did. Because I got a pretty basic sort of.
Arts
grade
degree.
12. Yeah, well, arts humanities, the most basic degree you can do because I got like an OP 12. So I was an average student.
Yep.
It was either that or teaching or nursing. And my mum and dad were teachers and nurses, and they said, you're not doing either of those.
You've been great, mate.
I've been the worst teacher in the world. Anyway, so then I thought, I'm going to ride my little Repco Traveller down to the hypermarket because I lived at Boondall. So I rode down there and just went in and said, can I do a sports show? And he said, well, not paying you. I was like, no, I don't care. I'll just do a sports show. So I started doing a half-hour sports show, which was literally in this little box in the middle of the hypermarket at Aspley. It's not there anymore. But and you'd broadcast to the shoppers. So
it was an internal radio
it was
station.
internal, but it was called narrowcast. So if you lived in like the
Next
surrounding
door.
suburbs, like I'm talking,
You could only hear it if you
we
look like.
we lived.
And that was through the loudspeaker.
Yeah. No, it was actually they actually had this like antenna. So if you lived in Aspley
Wow.
or Castledine or like within 4 or 5 kilometres of Aspley, you could pick it up on FM 88.0 on the FM
Wow.
dial. So I was like on the radio. Like mum, I got my old transistor at home and
Mum,
got
I've got a job.
got a coat hanger and I extended the antenna on the transistor, and mum could pick up the show from Boondall. So mum would actually listen to me doing radio.
Holy
It was
shit.
pretty cool. I thought I was like hitting a bit.
How old were you then?
Oh, like first year out of school.
Oh,
Yeah.
baller.
And I worked out. They had a letterhead.
Girls.
Yeah.
The most important thing I did in my career to this day is they had one day I'm sitting there just broadcasting, and you'd be just playing songs and doing the sport, and then if someone walked in the door from the bakery department and said, you have to stop everything, press a red button and just go, shoppers, there's a special on hot cross buns for the next 15 minutes. That was the only shit bit, because that'd bring you back down to earth with a fucking, asparagus is on sale in aisle 42, shoppers.
off.
So that brought you back down to earth. But But I was doing that, and
Jenny, Jenny.
that's what it was literally
There's
like.
been a spill.
but one day I looked over to the corner of the booth, and there was like A4 like paper, like a printer paper with the letterhead FM88 with a lightning strike going through it. I thought, what the fuck's that? So I had a look at it, and it was like proper letterhead. So I had a typewriter at home, so I'd actually type out like letters to the Brisbane Broncos and to the Brisbane Lions and the fucking Queensland Cricket, the NRL, any sport, right? Saying that I was a sports editor of FM88 and I require media credentials for the upcoming season.
So
And
good.
within 6 months, I'm at like Suncorp Stadium, sitting like in the fucking best seats in the house next to the hardcore journo, like Steve Ricketts and fucking
my
Bernie
God.
Pranberg, and like that's how I was sitting in a cricket test, just literally doing a crosses back to a shopping centre, and they didn't have room. They didn't have room.
They couldn't pick it up though.
They didn't have, in the look there. They didn't have room for me in the major press room, so they shoved me to a media radio broadcasting booth with like the guy from 2UE in Sydney and the guy from 4BC in Brisbane, which was Ashley Bradnam, who I now work
Yeah,
with.
wow.
And a
Is
guy
that when
called-
you first met?
Yeah, we first met at the test match where he was like doing his crosses to 4BC. A guy called Murray Shaw was doing 2UE Sydney, which was the top Sydney radio station at the time. And they were like, who the fuck's this guy behind us? And I was just copying them. Like on the hour, they'd be doing this
Writing
whole
down your
thing,
questions?
like, no, it's just like an hour. I was watching them. They're like going, at lunch on day 2, Australia, 4 for 172 with Alan Border on 73 and, whatever.
Still got it, yeah.
Matty Hayden on 42. The wickets were takers, blah, 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 blah. So Australia trailing by 302 with 2 days to play. Ashley Bradham at the Gabba. They were just doing that shit. And I went, okay, well, that's what I do.
You just copy it.
And I just fucking copied it. So there would have been these hypermarkets.
Fake it till you make it.
Imagine you're shopping at the
He
hypermarket
literally
at
stayed until he's
Aspley.
made it.
And every hour you hear this guy doing this shit. And that week, I think it was like, it might have been Duncan Armstrong left 4BC or someone left 4BC and the job came up and the boss went, do you know anyone? And Ash Bradnam went, there's this fucking young upstart that sat with us in the box at the Gabba and he's a good gibber. Like, I think he's actually all right. And I got a job at 4BC.
How good.
And that's when that was my first real
That was the start of the...
Yeah, that was my first paid
Yeah,
real
okay.
gig. Yeah, so
That is
pretty cool.
amazing.
It's a cool story.
Yeah, and that's when it sort of realised. That's why I was asking about when you thought it could actually become a career as opposed to something.
When you start making money, yeah, it's the same thing.
I think it's cool that like it sounds like the same for you, and I don't know about you, but the best thing for me was the first couple of years. Even like beyond that, even at 4BC, I didn't give a fuck about really earning money or anything. It was just like so naturally.
Cool.
You're interested in it.
I was so interested in it that I just didn't care. I didn't have any money. My money problem started when I was like 30. When I started earning decent money, that's when the money problems start, and you start meeting
Got that
chicks,
gambling have that.
chicks and gambling.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
when, that's when money problems start. Yeah,
That's
I think that's the same with Luke too.
yeah.
You can't when you got to go into a business. You can't worry about making money. You got to love doing what you want to do.
Oh, you don't even think about it. It's like, so when you were in there running around, the excitement of it all, like, was it just because you were meeting all these new people? Or is it because what you were thinking about all the people you were talking to through your audience?
That'd
or
be pretty cool. You'd meet like a lot of people that you'd look up to.
Oh, I remember.
Yeah.
Even sports stars.
I
Did you have many
remember
mentors in there? Or?
There's only a couple of times when I think I've been like super like bit nervous interviewing people. Like these days, I don't know. I can't think of one person now that I really give a shit about. Where I'd be like, oh fuck, I'm like freaking out. But I remember like I interviewed Bono one day, and that was I was shitting myself because I was a U2 fan.
What was he
as a
like?
kid. He was epic. I'll tell you. I don't think I've told you that story, but and the other one was like very early on through that hypermarket gig. So I'm a year out of school, and I wasn't doing drama or anything at school at all, but. I was doing I ended up doing a rugby league show on the Friday because Ross Hendricks and North Aspley fucking Devils had a team and they sponsored it. So I just, and through that, I was doing the South Queensland Crushers were playing in the NRL, and they handballed me this gig where I was like 18 doing the 300 at the Suncorp Stadium. They used to have the Centreline Club, which was a big 300 seat corporate area in the Western Grandstand. Like it was the fucking high end thing. And all of a sudden, I'm up on stage and I had to interview Wally Lewis. Now I remember actually feeling like fucking I was gonna have a stroke or something.
Yeah.
So I was actually, my face was heating up. I was shaking. I'd never met him, and all of a sudden it's me and Wally Lewis on stage. I remember just freaking out that day. But since then, I think because I was exposed pretty early to that, it sort of
just
becomes
becomes normal.
natural.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But as you go on, but yeah.
Is there anyone you've been wanting to interview and you had a chance you didn't get the gig?
Oh yeah, I've still got a million people I want to interview. It's like it's sort of like, because for me, it's as much as I love fucking interviewing and doing radio. To me, honestly, it's the reason I stopped being a journalist is I stopped giving a shit about the story. I actually wanted to meet people and be friends with people, and like the second. Like Ash and I were doing sports journalism, so you're going to Broncos press conferences every day, and you ask the same fucking questions to the same guys, and it gets boring. Like I was so exposed to Brisbane sport over my 20s, like from 18 to 28.
Because you're in athletics as well.
Yeah, I was doing track and
I think that's where I first met you.
Track and field's where I'm pretty heavily still do a fair bit of stuff with track and field, but I was just going to everything. Like I'd go, my day would be go to the Sheffield Shield all day, and then do the press conferences afterwards, then get on a train to fucking Nathan and get a bus to ANZ Stadium and watch the Brisbane Bandits play and just watch it, write notes, then go and interview them after the game, get the last train back to Boondall and to my mum and dad's house and be in bed by 1 a.m. Not getting that was my day. So I just went to every sporting event.
So you're a sports nutter as well.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
But having said that, these days I'm like I don't really like going to, unless I'm sitting in a I'm a snob now. Unless I'm sitting in the corporate box drinking free piss, like
Absolutely.
I don't really go to that much sport
You go
anymore.
to the
'Cause I go to work. It's my work. I
You go
work
to the races on a Wednesday, you hang out, there's 20 people at the races, and Luttsy's over.
Come on, Wiggins!
I still
Freaking
enjoy it.
Yeah,
Like, I
he
love
loves
it.
it.
But
Well, the
it's-
racing thing's totally different because I didn't know much about the racing industry before I met you, and it's
I
just
had to heavy educate Luke. in
Oh.
racing.
Oh, and
Like,
I'm by no means an expert with racing
no,
at
but
all.
Luke
by the
was
way.
like,
amateur.
he
Yeah.
starts asking, like, Luke's he racks your brain, so he's asking questions all the time, asking these random questions.
Because my parents never went to the horse races or anything. I
Yeah.
just rolled in and I'm like, it's a piss up. Like that was my original
yeah.
thoughts of rocking up to a race course. And then the more and more I got to learn about the industry, it is just phenomenal. Like all the athletes and like the skill that goes into it,
Oh.
the horses, how well they're looked after, and just like the whole culture. 'Cause
Yeah.
I didn't realize how it has such a history in Australia as well. Like went out and did a couple of the Birdsville races after that,
Yeah.
and like
Have you done Birdsville yet?
I haven't done. I've done a
Dude.
few different country races, but not Birdsville.
I've even had a fight in Brophy's tent.
Fuck that.
They fighting?
No, I can't. Oh,
I'm trying to G up Wiggo to get a horse out there and run.
Yeah, you
a
goes,
horse.
I want
Who'd
to
you
buy a
fight?
horse.
Jimmy Shannon, his name was.
So was he a guy in a part of the troop?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
right.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you don't fight another random, or you do?
No,
I
no,
don't
no.
think you can legally, yeah.
Okay.
No,
Yeah.
so they have because it was like the year after that Brophy made his boxing, like we're gonna shut it down, and then 4X backed him.
Yeah.
And so we were out there with one of the wine companies I work for, and G'd it up. First year, watched one of the 4X guys get knocked out and split his eye open on because all it is, it's like the last piece of Australiana. It's banned in every single state bar Queensland and Northern Territory.
Yeah, right.
Everywhere else is banned. You put your hand up, Fred bangs the drums, goes in the big tent, and you walk in there expecting to be this spectacular. He's a showman and a half.
Yeah.
All the fighters hop up on one side, and then all your drunken crowd members hop up on the other side of the stage.
So, but how did they pick you?
You just put your hand up, and Fred.
Yeah, but if they pick that, does he pick which person you fight, or do they show?
Yeah, so
who
they'll
wants to
go.
fight
This person has to fight, and he'll be on the stage, and like they've got like people who are ex commandos from army, and like Jimmy Shannon is
Surely
professional.
they can hold their hands up.
Oh,
Who the troop guys?
Yeah, I would
Oh
like to
no,
fight him, yeah.
I'm sure they're the
they're
toughest,
lined up.
toughest
but-
motherfuckers in the
oh, dude,
They've
and they
seen it
do
all.
2 fights a night. They do 2 fights a night. So these guys hop up. There was one guy hopped on the stage. He was so drunk, he almost fell back off the stage. And he's like, Fred went, "Nah, you're a little bit too far gone." And then some people, if they can't find someone willing to fight, they'll put like a tag team, so 2 versus
Yeah, I've seen
him.
that. Yeah.
Anyway, you walk in, you pay $20 a head, and like all the carnival activity around beforehand, you've got like 400 people around the outside, like mulling over from the pub, and you walk in, and it's literally Besser block with pieces of wood in between, and you're sitting on a piece of wood,
Yeah.
and it's a canvas mat rolled out with sand all over it, and Fred's the ref, blows his little whistle, and then you're fighting, and it is brutal. Like got haymakers.
I've seen
it.
videos.
Yeah, there was a
me
guy
too.
that came over from Ireland, flew over from Ireland to fight this one guy. And I was speaking with Jimmy before my fight because we'd been drinking all day at the races. Went back to camp, kept drinking, and then I'm like, I'm going to fight. So I ran 2K into the Birdsville Town Central, ran up on stage. As soon as they said, who wants to fight, I just ran up, and I fought Jimmy Shannon.
Lunatic.
And then we went down, and I smashed like 3 more 4X bidders while we were
What happened
before.
in the fight? Like,
We had an awesome fight. We drew, which was unreal. And
Forex, surely you can get a gig there.
I did not want to get there. Like, that's
Mate,
Fight,
my
like
worst
present.
night.
just
Yeah.
present doing the intro.
My worst nightmare.
And then
Honestly,
Forex,
yeah.
lactic acid, about 45 minutes later, I just remember spilling my guts out because of all the lactic acid. It's like running a 400-meter sprint.
Yeah.
And we were going hard. But in the fight, I remember, you know when you hit someone and you know you got them good and they kind of snap?
I don't know that. yeah. So who's that?
And
Lots of
that it was
voice
odd.
fights.
Yeah, no, that it was odd. But no, that is an amazing event. But the Birdsville races, come back to it, is something that I want to do again and we go
I
out
tried
there.
to get out there one year. And me and Nathan Day tried to get out there grubby, and we got about 2 hours out, and we got washed out. We couldn't get.
I know. I've
couldn't get any
seen. He sent me
Video
photos
footage.
of you
Yeah,
guys
so-
trying to push through some
further.
wet track.
That
It
was
looked,
wild.
Looked ridiculous.
So we ended up going back to the pub for 3 days. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I mean, I think that's the beauty of horse racing. I think is that you got all those elements that because I agree. Like as much as I went to the races when I was young and that, not until I remember at Nova I started doing a bit of stuff out on the street in the mornings, like interviewing. And I went out to Deegan and that where I think there was a jockey academy or something
There
out
is,
there,
yeah.
and they had the fake horse thing that they ride.
Did you ever go on that?
Shit. I had a bit of a quick go on it, but you started seeing the science behind it, and then got to know some trainers and saw that side of it, and then. Even the owner side of it's really interesting as well.
Yeah.
And the fact that it can, and it's a great piss up as well. It's a great day just to go and get on the piss. And there's not too many sports where you can sort of incorporate
No.
all of that. You know what I mean?
Cricket probably be the closest one.
Yeah, exactly.
Football,
Yeah,
football,
cricket's-
NRL.
But
Yeah, footy,
but it's
so-
only the
Yeah,
80
it's
minutes.
only 80 minutes.
80
yeah.
minutes and you're done. Everyone's out,
Yeah, like-
out of the bars.
yeah, racing
It's a
the
whole,
day.
and you go during the day and it's fun.
Like,
And then
let's
if you've
get
got
there at-
staying power,
Let's
you're
get
out.
there at 10:30 and you're walking out at 6. Like that's a full day.
What
In the
about?
sun.
Yeah,
Do you know what? Are they running Melbourne Cup this year?
yeah. It would just be at Flaming. What's the latest
Well,
on
it's
that?
a bit
Or-
of Flemington, but I
No-
just
no
assumed
No
Crowns.
crowns.
Well, there
It's
will
Melbourne,
be.
mate. They can't even get out of their places right now.
No,
I don't know what's going to happen, but I don't know what the situation is. But I know in Queensland, I wouldn't say we're back to normal,
Yeah.
but I'd say we're as close to normal as possible. Like we're probably lucky we're not going through a carnival at the moment, but as a normal Saturday crowd, I think we're nearly up there again.
It's looking pretty good.
Yeah,
Like
and people are looking to get out at the moment. So,
I was heckling you about a couple of
Yeah,
weeks
yeah.
ago.
so I said, hanging over the fence all the time.
It was you had to sit down and drink, which is fucking annoying. And not because what
That's
happens
right. You're
is
not allowed to stand.
you're not actually being an arsehole. You just forget. It's so hard to forget that you can't stand up. Because when you're at the races, you're sitting down because you got to sit down. Then there'll be a race on, so you run over to a monitor or whatever to watch a race in Sydney, and you're carrying your beer, and they just say, "Mate, you can't." We've asked you 6 times.
I just don't get the theory.
You have-
I just
I
don't
don't have
get
to ask
the theory.
leave, say too.
Yeah, I know. It was getting close to that.
I
It's
just
like,
don't get the theory that you can't stand up.
I know.
And like if me and you can sit next to each other like this, but we're not allowed to stand up and stand next to each other.
Yeah, I get. It doesn't make any sense. I get the theory of it. That I guess in theory,
You're not touching.
you're not changing groups. I guess,
Probably.
Okay.
But you don't really do that anyway. You
No.
can't- so I kind of get that, but it doesn't
A
stop me. It doesn't stop me from doing that.
A
You can still.
couple of weeks, last month we went out for my birthday. We went out for dinner. We always go out for a drink. That man liquor got blind drunk. Saki always gets us.
It's pretty standard.
Anyway, we're at this shit place. Well, we went to a nice place, then we went to another place that was shit, and we're all sitting down. They make everyone sit down. Everyone's like, the music's good and that, and we go, this place is shit. So Kate, my wife, goes, let's just get up and dance till they kick us out. So we
Yeah.
got 5 of us go up dance, and everyone's looking at us, go, look at these mad bastards.
And they-
then they just go, use her out. Like, we're fucking going
But they
anyway.
didn't do it straight away.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't do it straight away. They went, yeah, guys, just settle down here. We're
And we
like,
kept dancing, we're like, you fucking crims.
Make us.
it was ridiculous.
It is pretty crazy. I think they've just changed it now that I think literally today a rule came through that at weddings, 20 people in the bridal party can dance. But if you're not in the bridal party, you can't
cannot.
dance.
My
So it's
cousin
like,
got
how-
married
how
a couple
weird's
weeks
that?
ago. They had their dance, and that was
Yeah.
it. It was just like,
It's terrible, isn't it?
That's pretty weird.
it was like, I really felt for him
Yeah.
because his wife's family couldn't even come over. So
Yeah.
she had none of her family there.
Yeah, it's pretty
And
fucked
it
up.
was just full on.
But I mean, it's better here than most other places in the world.
Well, we've been so lucky in Queensland, though. Even in Australia, how lucky
Yeah,
we've
I
been in
know.
Queensland.
and we're getting all the sport, which is even better.
Oh, do you reckon?
Are you looking forward to the AFL grand final? Is that your
Yeah.
thing or not?
Oh, I mean,
And
again,
I love sport too, but AFL is not my.
no, like
number one thing?
I've got a sort of medium level interest in sort of all sports just through my career. Yeah, so like I don't really give a shit about AFL. But having said that, like when the Lions are winning,
the first time
go
forever, it will be the first and last. It will
first
be.
and last.
Part of my ignorance, Brisbane any chance to get in the final?
Yeah, they're I think again this could be wrong, but I think they finished top of the ladder. Or is there one round to go? Something like that. Anyway, they're second or first, which means they're guaranteed of getting 2 home appearances if they require that before the grand final, so that they could have a run of 3, Gabba appearances leading.
Well, how lucky is it for me? I'm obviously a mad Roosters supporter, NRL.
Yes.
And the first week it looks like Melbourne's home ground will be Suncorp, so Roosters will have to play Melbourne at home at Suncorp. Yeah, in 2 weeks.
Oh wow!
So I don't know whether that'll be on a Friday night or a Saturday night, but that's pretty cool. I reckon that'll be big crowds, as many as people.
As many as they're allowed to have. Yeah.
I think if the Brisbane are in grand final in Brisbane
and they win,
you watch the restrictions be lifted.
yeah.
The
Premier's like,
we're all open this weekend.
We can have 100,000 people there.
That's exactly right. Well, they trialled like 200 people sitting next to each other at the Lions the other night.
No one got it.
No, they did it. They sat 200 people shoulder to shoulder. And
they test everyone after?
I don't know where they tested it. All I heard is they were asking how they felt about it. Like, what the fuck does that matter?
Feel great.
Yeah, like it feels awesome.
Normal.
Back to normal.
They did it, so presumably they're doing that in some way to try and test whether over the next few weeks they can have more people.
Obviously, in my line of work, there's been a lot of restrictions that they've tried to keep us away from the public. And
tell them how they did you guys when you were. Sorry, that would sound really.
Did you guys?
They did you guys.
How they did you guys?
Tell everyone how they broke up the horse racing industry.
If we lived in a certain area where I live, we weren't allowed to go. Like I wasn't allowed to ride at Toowoomba, Ipswich, Gold Coast.
So you can only ride in Brisbane.
Eagle Farm.
It's like Hunger Games. They're different teams.
I rode at Eagle Farm, Doomben, and Sunny Coast, and that was it. We had zones.
Yeah, okay.
So we weren't allowed to go to that zone, and they had us in separate area, like in the jockeys' room. Like they spread us all out, and we weren't allowed to mingle with trainers. Thank God. That was good for a change.
Yeah, that'd actually be a bonus, right?
Yeah, you didn't have to deal with
can't
owners.
talk to
Owners weren't allowed there.
That'd be the worst one. Trainers you kind of take for granted, but like owners, that'd be great taking advice from a fucking owner trying to tell you.
Yeah, how do you get some sprays? have you sprayed an owner?
I'm a rookie. I've got one, but I don't think I've ever spoken to the actual.
I can't wait till like owners get back to normal. Say like Luttsy said, if the horse jockey doesn't win, you need to say this to him when he's come back. You need to say this, and the jockey's face will just go, "What the fuck?" Like,
just stitch him up. What do you say?
Oh, I've had many sprays. Like
about what though? Like,
well, they see the thing is.
I fucking paid that much for the horse and didn't run in, or
but see they bet too. So you know like.
Oh, but they've all
you can understand.
Like even with my owners, like, the people that own with in our horse, like everyone's an expert. Like everyone thinks that it should fucking
especially
go
after
front or should
couple
sit,
of of rum.
sit one off or didn't get. Everyone's a fucking like that's the great, and that's another great thing about racing is you can sit at a pub and be a fucking expert. I'm using.
The best thing is,
and it's just basic fucking.
Look at the stats.
It's basic terminology. So I just now I've started using this year. I've always been aware of it. I've never actually used the term like. Oh, it's got no cover. I've always obviously it's best that it's not fucking 4 wide going around the bend. I'm just found myself using those terminologies more this year and over the last sort of 18 months, just going. It's got no fucking cover.
It was so funny.
It's in trouble here. It's in a good spot, isn't it? I just find myself
picking it up.
As if people just betting beside you on Sportsbet or something. They're like,
So like a couple of weeks ago, I was in Cairns with Kate, and we're on a Saturday. So we'll just go to the local RSL and just watch a couple of races. Want to watch a couple of horses race? So I usually ride in that. So you're sitting back in the corner, like no one knows who the fuck you are, and that. And these people just yelling abuse at the TV is just fucking amazing. Like. Where the fuck are these people? Like, where do they come from? Like, they're just all. Like,
they're your fans, mate.
Professional. They're all professional punters.
They are, and that's right. You got to be at the very essence of being a punter. You got to spend money and hopefully earn money. So the very essence of it,
you're
a
an owner,
professional
so you've
punter.
stepped it up.
Yeah, you're at next level.
Yeah.
Luke only rang me like 2 weeks ago. I was like, "Fuck, dude, I never thought of this. I want to own a fucking horse." How much money you got? Don't do it.
It's sexy as fuck if the thing goes all right. It's actually it's racing in Brisbane. Like for me, obviously living in Brisbane, like I've owned a horse before which ran in Camberley Grange, and there's another story, but if you might want to get into that. But there was no enjoyment for me in that process. It only won once. I was literally standing in the Albion fucking TAB watching it with some fucking drunk.
You've got to be there.
4-year-old. There was no enjoyment in that. And having said that, because of COVID, I haven't watched One Shy Ruby race yet. But why we own the horse is because it's a good bunch of mates that want to
Get
stand
along.
there and fucking yahoo when it comes across the finish line first. And that to me, that seems like
See,
that'd
like
be a
if
pretty
you
cool
got a-
moment.
If you've got a horse, you
that's
could call it the bitter chat.
Probably.
Easily, you could-
probably.
you
If
probably
that's
would.
not even been taken.
No, of course it doesn't.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I thought about that.
Pretty cool.
I call everything bitter chat because just it's free branding.
Well, it makes sense, right?
This is the bitter chat. So we are coming back to. So you did your apprenticeship
Yeah.
in Canberra.
Yeah.
And
Uh,
moved to Sydney, and I've read a couple of quotes from the newspaper on.
Is this the World Times? Or
This is the Wild Times.
Good,
That
good,
was
good,
there was literally.
I
a-
always say to my wife, I don't remember the age of 19 to 27.
Oh,
But
before
that's
you,
true. It's
before you
fucking
get
true.
into it, I'll just say this: I know nothing of his history, but the fact that we sort of connected
Randomly.
and get along, I thought there must be a loose streak to this fella because I'm a bit of a fucking idiot as well.
Well, even the nights
there's,
we've had.
there's a reason we get along that I haven't
I
discovered
think
yet.
we've seen this before.
And I think Luke's about to fucking share why we're friends.
So I wrote down. It was like the top headline. Where is it?
what was this for?
There's headlines.
You could have at least warned me about this before.
Where is it?
No, that's mate. Hey, come on, it's a podcast. Just let it go.
Wing it.
Come on, here's
I
some
don't
of
have to
these.
explain anything to my wife that
It's
she
gonna be
already know.
This is gonna be. Oh, here we go.
This is
So-
not the podcast. You're listening
So the Courier Mail had or the Herald Sun or something had an article on it, and it was like bringing a young jockey back from wildlife. The headline read: "Drink, party, repeat." That's how life once was for young jockey Ryan Wiggins.
That is
That's
excellent.
fucked.
That was the headline. I was like, "Are you
That's
kidding
the
me?"
best headline. Have you tell me you've got that newspaper?
No,
I
do
found
not.
it.
Frame
My
it.
mum would.
I
So-
found it.
Oh,
I'll
make sure
send
she
you the link.
keeps it.
I was just like, anyway, because I remember Ryan has told me a few stories because you are young, you're horse riding. It's what an adrenaline rush sport, and then you move from away from your folks into Sydney, which is a wild city anyway, and you're getting a bit of a coin because you started getting some success straight away.
Yeah.
Bit of
You
disposable
make a lot of
income.
money.
Yeah, I
when
know.
you're young.
In the big smoke, that's danger.
It's
written
gonna
all over
happen. So you just. It's pretty much like most professional athletes these days. When you're young and got a lot of money, you just go out and go party and then
Just
back
party.
up the next day and go hard.
You just think it's going to last forever. That's the issue.
Mm.
And I think it still happens these days with a lot of kids. Like, they make probably twice as much money as we did when we were kids then now because of the riding fee and all that sort of stuff. But, I don't remember much of it.
Yeah.
But it was definitely a lot of partying going on.
Jumping on a horse though, in
Yeah.
any state.
But I think it's
Yeah, being hungover on a horse cannot be a good thing.
yeah, it wasn't so much being hungover. It was always like back then too. It was more like you rode Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. Saturday racing like 10, 15 years ago was like abolished, mate. That was like going to church on a. You cannot have racing on a Sunday now. Obviously, racing's every
Yeah,
freaking
they
day,
don't
which is
care now.
terrible. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's just the
as many
government
races
sucking
we
as much
have.
money as they can out of it.
Mm.
But like, it's all good for us. We make more money. You work when you want to work. But back then, when you're young and you got unlimited energy, and like I said, these days you can. Not these days, but if I woke up with a hangover these days and knew that I had to go to the races the next day, that's not ideal for me.
No.
Especially because you're sweating. Imagine being
Oh,
hungover.
I didn't have a weight problem back then either, so,
So you
you
didn't-
can eat and drink.
you didn't
It's
have to
all right,
worry about
smash
that.
at McDonald's at 2:00 in the morning. It's all right. I've
Yeah,
got to
yeah,
ride
yeah.
in 15 hours. I'll be good.
Yeah, yeah.
But these days, like I would never drink like that the night before the race. There's no way in the world. Like it's unprofessional now.
And-
that I'm more mature, but yeah, it was a wild time. Like you're making 17-year-old kids now. You're making 10 grand a week. So you imagine you're making 10 grand
No,
a
I
week when you're
know.
17. You're like,
Listen,
like mum lives 3 hours away.
because it's almost opposite. Because you again, you're all caught up in the momentum of the sport, like full adrenaline rush, and it's like you when you went in and worked for the radio station.
Yeah.
It's just like you bouncing off
Well, you're
everything, but we
meeting people.
probably won't earn as much money
Well,
as what
it's-
these guys are. It's,
yeah.
it's just like ludicrous.
It's crazy.
And that industry is it's it's social. It's a
Oh,
very social
100%.
industry. Like
You meet a
if
lot
you're a
of people.
jockey, you've almost got to be a bit of a rogue. You've got to have you got to be
gotta have a little-
sharp-witted. You got to be able to fucking bounce off and
I think you
give
just
a
gotta
bit
have a
of
little
lip.
bit
You got to
competitive.
have
in ya.
You're
gotta have a
competitive.
bit of
Otherwise,
shit
you
in ya.
sink.
Yeah. You gotta be. Yeah, you gotta have a little bit of shit in you because people
Yeah.
take advantage of it. Well,
It's a sport
they
though,
do anyway.
so you're always
Yeah,
competitive.
But I mean, like a Formula One driver, you gotta have a bit of shit. I love Formula One.
Yeah.
That's too. And I don't know what your situation is with Formula One, but I love it too. But you meet up, you learn a lot more about them, and you see them, and they're just all like they come across arrogant.
Yeah.
But that was like apprentice jockeys. They say, "Oh, he's an arrogant, or he's a
Yeah.
cheeky little shit," and that thing. Yeah, we were, but you had to be because
Yeah.
people, older jockeys would take advantage of you. Like, you know,
How-
do things
in
to
what
a
way,
race
mate?
or do things.
Oh, jeez.
Not like that.
I don't want to be. I don't want to be on this podcast if this is where it's heading. If you've got fucking problems that you haven't discussed, this is not the forum for it. Or maybe it is, but maybe the next one.
We said we
Can I
could talk
just
about
open
anything.
my,
We
can
go,
I
but
just open up about this?
I don't want to.
Not everything. Okay.
What do you mean?
Big
Like,
therapy
how
session.
would
What
they,
I mean.
how would they take advantage of you?
Just little things like it's like anything. Like
It's kind of a
an
right of, you know.
yeah, but an old guy would know a lot more tricks than you and that sort of stuff, and they'd suck you into positions that you don't really want to be in.
So strategy on the track.
Oh, of course,
Yeah.
strategy of a
But you
track.
know, like, and I've got no, because, you know, the public isn't privy to that shit that goes on behind the barriers.
No.
But having said that, where I live now, I can walk across to like one of the, I think it's the 1400 start at Eagle Farm, and you can sort of just watch behind the barriers. And occasionally I'll do it, and you know what I think of when you see female jockeys, it must be fucking super tough for them because just because I don't know why, I just thought fuck, they've got to be super tough against these old heads because I just saw some. I don't know who the jockeys were. There's a chick, and I know she was on the favourite, and there was another jockey, an older head, and he was just going, "No, you got to take her out. She's got to lead. She's got to lead. You don't take her out. You got to fucking take her out, love." And he was trying to fuck with her, obviously.
Yeah.
And she was pretty cool. She was just pretty, fuck off. You know, but
I know what I'm
Just
doing.
across the line.
you have to, otherwise you'd get
Yeah.
fucking eaten
Well, it's
up.
been so much of a man's sport for hundreds of years,
Yeah.
you know, and obviously things
It's
change.
tough.
Now there's more, I wouldn't say there's more females, but it's getting to the stage where it's
Yeah.
like nearly 70-30, 60-40. So
Really?
It seems like
Yeah.
out in the bush too. Like
Even-
half the
oh,
field will be chicks.
And when they're building like new tracks and new jockeys room, now the jockeys room, female and male, are the same size. And that
Yeah.
never used to be
Wow.
like that. Like Eagle Farm is probably, Eagle Farm's got a big jockeys room, but like the girls have the same facilities that we do. Everything's sort of trying
Yeah,
to equal
yeah.
that sort of thing. But I think because people getting bigger these days too, a lot of females stay obviously a lot smaller and a lot lighter, and
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah.
and they've got a good horsemanship, you know what I mean? Even people that aren't brought up in racing, like, you know, Em loves horses and that sort of stuff. And it's just any girl can go, Dad, I want a pony or something like that, where a guy would be like 6 or 7, Dad, I want a
Yeah.
fucking football or sort of
Yeah,
roller skates,
exactly.
you know what I mean? But a girl with a horse, it's just that love sort of thing. And,
Yeah.
and they do get on good with them, and they can do things on horses that we can't do that they get the horses to do, and it's a gentle touch, you know what I mean, sort of thing. That all that sort of stuff of like being rough with horses, like, you know, now it's unheard of and that sort of thing. The horses,
It's
they
pretty-
get treated like kings.
It's good that stigmas, I think.
Oh, 100%.
has gone, honestly,
It's old
like,
school.
going back 20 years, you'd go, you'd have
It's
your,
like anything,
your
it's like-
dad's mates be going, fucking put a line through that. There's a fucking woman on board. That
Yeah.
is dead
No.
set the terminology people
No,
would use
it's
in the
crap.
races. And now
It's
you go,
crap.
now I actually.
At the end of the day,
Well,
it doesn't matter what car you're driving.
Yeah.
If it's if you're driving a Ferrari, and I'm, you know, if a female's driving a Ferrari, and
Yeah.
it doesn't
Whoever's
matter.
faster.
Yeah, but whoever's driving the Ferrari wins
Yeah.
every day of the week.
Yeah, okay.
So at the end
Not
of the
at the
day,
moment.
That's good.
yeah. But at the end of the
Yeah,
day, at the end of the day, you know, if they know what they're doing, they can do exactly the same job as we're doing.
100.
You know?
Yeah. No, I think it's
And it's
awesome to see in the
changed.
sport.
Yeah, absolutely.
The
yeah.
fact that they have the same size locker rooms is
Yeah, it's big.
that is huge.
And
Well,
I mean, you
it's-
understand. Like, I was only watching a thing the other day. The females weren't even allowed on a racetrack. Like,
I know, yeah,
so many so many years ago. Yeah, like there was like
It's
there was
crazy, right?
and not allowing the members and stuff like that. And
Yeah,
so it's
certainly
been
not the
crazy.
bars.
It's changed. It's changed.
That is
you know?
insane. How long
Yeah.
ago was that?
I don't know.
80s?
Yeah. Oh no, no.
Oh,
way
no,
before that.
but
way-
not that, like, 50,
Yeah,
probably
but it was
50,
unheard
60
of. You know,
years ago.
I even seen something not long ago about they were doing a podcast on the NRL players, and the NRL the females weren't allowed to go. They were watching the football,
Yeah.
but they weren't allowed in their stadium and stuff like this, like in the 40s and 50s. That's
wow.
crazy. Like you don't realise how, and when you look back on it now, like all of us look back and go, that's fucking stupid. Like, why were people like that them days? But everything's changed. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
it's weird though. But it wasn't that long ago.
No,
There's
it
chicks
wasn't.
like I
It
remember
wasn't.
that fucking who was it? That Sigrid Thornton's mum. She chained herself to the Regatta Hotel bar. Back. Oh, geez, this could be completely. I'm saying like maybe the 50s or 60s.
Well, she wasn't allowed in there.
Chicks weren't allowed at the bar, and she went fuck this, and she chained herself.
Fuck
Can you
this.
bring that up?
She chained. Check it out. Her last name was Thornton. Sigrid Thornton is the
Chaining
actress.
yourself to the Breakfast
Sigrid
Creek
Thornton's
Hotel.
mum.
Regatta
Regatta
Hotel.
Hotel.
And see if you can get the details. In my mind, it was 50. She chained herself there, and the cops couldn't remove her, and eventually they served
Sawed
her.
off her arm.
No, they fucking. that was the only other option. So they fucking served her a beer, and it became quite a.
And
quite
she
a-
scolded
quite
it,
a
and then
thing.
everyone cleared.
Yeah, and then it's
Whoa.
apparently changed the rules in Brisbane.
That is insane.
But see if you can find it. 'cause
Did you find it?
You know, I swear I'm not making that up.
Well, it's a pretty fucking good story.
Is that one of your lunch stories? Or like, yeah.
No, I've never told. I don't think I've ever told that story. I've just been aware of that story
Yeah.
for a while.
Over 50 years ago, Merle Thornton and Rosalie Bognar chained themselves to the foot rail of the regatta's then public bar to protest women's rights.
There you go.
Wow.
And it was a big thing. It was a game
In Brisbane.
changer. Yeah, in Brisbane.
That's
Regatta
amazing.
Hotel, yeah.
Hell yeah.
I'm pretty sure if you go to the Regatta, that very front bar, like when you walk in
There's
that
a bar
main
named after
entrance, there's like I'm not sure if it should be, but if it isn't, but
Where the 4X on the wood is.
yeah,
I think
it's
it was
the very
bar.
front, but the main corner entrance. If you walk to that front bar, I'm pretty sure there's a photo there somewhere of her chained to the bar. But fuck, that was probably 10 years ago. I saw that. It should be named after her, that bar. If it's not,
That is
That's a
ridiculous.
good
They were
story. I
refused
didn't know.
service but were brought drinks by sympathetic male patrons while police searched for tools to cut the chains.
there you go. There you go. That's a cool story, right?
That is insane.
That's a cool Brisbane
my
story
God.
that people don't know about.
So is it one of the old, like, you know a fair bit about the pubs that are in this area? Is it?
Oh shit! I don't know. I know that I don't know. I don't really know.
It's an old pub though, isn't it? Regatta.
Yeah, Regatta's an old pub. I remember I know the stories of like the Oxford 152 at Bulimba. Bulimba being an old wharfie is like a fucking hardcore.
Oh, Wolfie.
Yeah.
Oh, it was like
that was
it
like
was
the
like
docks.
it was like a bloodbath.
Yeah. That was like
Fighting
the,
in that.
Oh yeah, shit. Yeah.
That was
like,
the docks
fucking,
bar.
like next
How cool is
level.
that?
Next
yeah,
level.
because they used to
wasn't
have all the boat docks around there
Yeah,
and boat building around there, so they
Yeah.
get off work.
it? Like I heard stories like some horrific stories of just like if you walked in there, you'd want to be fucking Ted Brophy fit. Like Fred Brophy, sorry, not Ted Brophy. Fred Brophy fit. Yeah, you have to be a fucking fighter to go there, pretty much.
That's unreal.
Like rough as
That is
guts.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
No.
I feel like I know they'd have underbelly and everything, which is all the which Fitzgerald Inquiry, Brisbane. But I feel like there's another level of Brisbane history that
Hasn't been
it's got
touched
to be
yet.
not it's a
Well, what
TV
about-
show, something though.
Speaking of bars and stuff, remember when it was a couple of months ago when was it Mr. Percival's that it had a drive-by shooting from the river off a tinny?
Yes.
And no one knew
Thank
what it was
fuck I
about.
wasn't there.
He lives there, this guy.
I
What
used to
about
live there.
Yeah.
What
Yeah,
about
I met my girlfriend there.
the fire bombing? Remember the guy
Yeah.
that went in there and firebombed the place?
Oh yeah,
It was like
that
2 weeks
that was
away.
just
It was
after
like-
that. Yeah, or
I reckon it
before
might
that.
have been like, yeah.
I think they were
Same,
saying that
same.
might have been sort of gang related and stuff like that. Blah blah blah. But
Interesting
yeah.
times.
Mr.
wasn't it?
Percival's cool.
Luttsy, I was doing a bit of a research. So you went into radio there, and then you went into Nova.
Yeah, I mean,
Couple.
yeah, it was like when I was doing sports journalism, I got the sack from 4BC. And
Yeah.
remember-
What'd you get the sack for?
Whoa.
No, actually, no, I didn't. I got made redundant. Ash and I
Okay.
got made redundant. They axed their sports department, so the newsreaders read the sport, so we had no jobs. But as I was saying, like, we'd go to the Broncos and ask the same questions to the same people every fucking week. It was like,
Can I ask you a question before you
Yeah.
go any further than that? Being someone like in sport a little bit, and I've been in trouble before, journalists have got, do you think journalists in the last, say, 10, 15 years have sort of got a bad rap about the way they go about doing things these days? Or
I think
In
what
sport in particular?
in
Or?
sport? I
sport?
feel in sport, like they push a lot and
I'll tell you what I think has happened there, particularly in the last 10 years and more so again.
all
last
the
probably
stuff with the
4 or
Seabold stuff and that sort of thing.
4 or
that's come up.
5 years, what's happened is that, well, for starters, like I think for the most part, you're talking print journos. They're the most hardcore, the ones that you're most likely to be digging around shit. Like to be
Clickbaiters.
honest, like TV and radio, you're reading the paper, you might run a story off the back of what the print paper's written. There's not too many TV and radio sports journals that are fair. Maybe like the print base, like Denny Wilder in the NRL, who is actually a print guy that's become a TV guy. But for the most part, your print guys are the ones that are digging for shit. In the last 5 years, what's happened is that the print radio, the print journalist is a dying breed. Newspapers are dying.
Clickbait journalists.
Yeah. So what has happened is that, like, I've spoken to journalists who their success now is not based on them doing an excellent feature story on
Trying to
fucking
find something
Ryan
bad.
Wiggins or whatever. It's clickbait. It's clicks. If they're not
Yeah.
getting clicks,
Yeah.
they lose their fucking job. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, the way
That
they get
sucks.
clicks is to write shit stories
Yeah.
sometimes. So journalism's changed pretty heavily as far as what you read in the paper now. For the most part, is based on
It's almost like
pressure that journalists are getting from their editors to go, look, fuck, you're getting nothing on the online. Like you're getting the least clicks out of all the stories, and if that's
Yeah.
happening, they'll lose their jobs.
'Cause
So it's changed the way.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, it's changed the way journalists
Yeah.
are writing stories,
Yeah.
and they're digging more shit out.
Yeah,
probably because of
I speak to a couple like every now and then.
Mm.
They'll speak to a couple of jockeys like, oh, this is going on. What do you reckon? Sort of thing. And like, if you want to give your input, they write it in the paper, or whatever. But there's one guy that any day of the week he rings me, and no, because I know if I say, mate, don't. It's a bit of a touchy subject. The poor bloke's going through a bit of drama, or family, or mental health and that sort of stuff. He would never write any stuff like that. But the other guy. Wouldn't trust him as far as I could throw it.
Yeah.
So that sort of thing is a bit of an issue. You know what I mean? I think in journalism at the moment, especially with sport. Like
Somebody's asking, it's got nothing to do with the sport. It's what I've been seeing. It's all about the personal lives in the back end of it, and it's got nothing to do with what's on the field and making drama out of it.
That's the other thing with COVID is that like they've got to fill paragraphs with, and there's not much fucking sport happening. So they've got to dig deeper into that stuff because there's no actual sport to talk about. But
why should we be talking about someone's we should be talking about the way they're playing, like if a football player's playing bad, or whether he's got a fucking sex tape out at the moment.
Yeah.
It's
exactly.
full on.
Exactly. And what gets the clicks?
Yeah.
The sex tape bullshit gets the clicks. So there's pressure on them to do that. I mean, there's actual real pressure. But I don't know. With journos, it's a tough one. Like I've never been in the position where you got to deal with that on a heavy level as an athlete.
But what I'm saying is that why you sort of stepped away from that? You're like, oh, we're asking these questions and they're getting boring.
Oh, that's
and the other guys are going, oh, so what's going on in your personal life? They prefer to push that line.
That's exactly, and it got to the point where I was unemployed and we didn't know what the fuck we were going to do next, and we thought, what are we going to do next? And we thought that, look, we asked these same fucking boring questions to the same athlete. We literally went through. That's the sentence that I remember more so from anything is, it's so fucking tedious what we're doing, and it's so boring, and one of us, I don't know if it was Ash or me, said, how about like someone said, we can ask these fuckers anything, and they just give us the same fucking answer back, honestly.
Imagine interviewing Wayne Bennett or something.
well, that's what we then we
just hold up
Wayne
cards,
Bennett's got
mate.
down pat. He's got down pat. He gives them nothing.
Yeah, exactly. And that was like, we came through that era when Wayne Bennett would just give you fucking nothing. Like the Broncos was siege mentality media where they'd once a week, if you went to training, they'd treat you like shit, and they would. They'd
doing a Trump.
They'd throw up one player, some player that's been fucking injured for 3 weeks, like
they said if you're doing the media.
Yeah,
today,
honestly, that's what it was like. But then, and anyway, so we thought, well, let's do it. Let's fucking. Wouldn't it be funny if we just asked these fucking ridiculous questions where we were fucking confusing our cliches and just fucking that they're like nonsensical questions, and the joke being that the fucking athlete will answer back because they're not really listening because they don't give a shit either. So we did. Canterbury Bulldogs were playing like a trial game against fucking, I don't know, it was on the Gold Coast. I remember going to Canterbury Bulldogs training. I remember Jonathan Thurston. It was the first time I ever met Jonathan Thurston. Didn't know who the fuck he was. He was like 18. He just joined Canterbury. And we had, if I can't find the fucking tape, I got 5 minutes where we just bamboozle this young Jonathan Thurston and make him look like a fucking imbecile. And
You're hanging out with him today.
I know, I was hanging out with him today. I become fucking mates with him. And it's I almost wouldn't even release it because it'd actually, it'd be un-Queensland to do it.
Oh, really?
Because it's just making,
it's
just making fucking fun of an 18-year-old. But for the most part, it was, we'd go, I'm here with, I remember, who was that fucking redheaded prop from Lance Thompson?
Yes.
Till this day, I think wants to murder me and Ash because we just fucking made him look like an even dumber motherfucker than he was.
What were some of the questions?
The joke was that he just didn't get it. It required them not to get it. 90% of them didn't get it. Occasionally they did, and that was funny. But just like Lance, a tough game against the Seagulls this last weekend. If there was one criticism of your game, it's that you're only buttering one side of your toast. And Lance would be like, that's right, mate. So that's a fair assessment of how I played. And you've got to Lance. They say you can't bake the pretzel before the fat girl sings. But I mean, it just shit like that.
You did a bit of both tonight.
Do they want to bash you?
Ridiculous.
Oh,
no, they
man.
didn't get it, but then it'd go to air because what happened was we shot a pilot and then we got on and then we showed it to Tony Squires, who had a show called The Fat on the ABC.
I was about to hit that up next. Yeah,
and that's where our career changed from serious to taking the piss, and that's where it changed from giving a fuck about knee injuries to not giving a fuck about anything and just being mates with it. And all of a sudden we get respect off athletes. They didn't realise they could. Everyone was
having a good time.
Everyone wanted to be interviewed for us. They wouldn't give a fuck about that shit. We just want to have fun with them. And except Lance Thompson, who we actually, because it'd go to air, everyone would laugh, and these players would be watching, going, "Oh fuck, I got stitched up." Yeah, and I embarrassed myself, and we actually heard that Lance Thompson wanted to kill us. I don't know where. I don't think I think he still lives down in fucking on the Shire or whatever. So I'm safe for the moment. But
Oh my God.
So yeah, we did that for like 2 years, and then
So what was the whole premise of the fat?
the fat was like very similar to the back page with Tony Squires now.
Okay.
Okay. You had Tony Squires, Rebecca Wilson, who's passed away, Peter, what the fuck was his name? Peter Wilkins was an old ABC reporter. Then you had like fucking Mikey Robbins, the Sandman. Remember the Sandman?
Oh, Sandman.
Like these fucking legends. And also, I went from being a fan of this show to on it in 1 week. So from 1 week, I was sitting in my lounge room watching it. Then during the week, they rang me and said, "Yeah, you're on. We love that idea." And I was like, and the next week, I'm sitting in Tony Squires' fucking kitchen in Clovelly in Sydney. They've all got it's Tony Squires, the Sandman, Mikey Robbins, Ash, me, and our fucking agent or whatever, and singing. They're all fucking. Mikey's fucking playing harmonica. Fucking the Sandman's got Steve Abbott, his name was. Cool guy.
Yeah.
He's playing guitar, singing fucking like Beatles and Crowded House covers, fucking, fucking all that sort of bullshit, doing God knows what. No, I was innocent as fuck, just going, what the fuck?
Was that surreal? Like
It was the weirdest thing, the most fun I've ever had in my life. And it was like we'd do the show, there'd be a green room, there'd be fucking piss. You'd have all these cool people coming on. I met fucking like Franz Ferdinand, all these fucking cool bands, and fucking it was rock star shit. It was like getting drunk. Then afterwards we'd go out, we'd fucking be drinking piss with them all. You end up, I did the footy show, the NRL footy show for 3 years, and you'd literally do the show and walk out the door, like not one lick of. I actually stole a 6-pack of fucking Tuies out of Kerry Ann Kennelly's fucking room without a word of a lie. No. I stole a hot 6-pack out of Kerry Ann Kennelly's fucking thing, just ferreting around the Channel 9 studios.
What can I take?
Just to have a fucking beer to try and get a bit lit before I went on the footy show, because we wanted to be a bit pissed usually when we did it. And yeah, but the fat was the greatest fucking time of my life with the coolest people. Yeah,
that is awesome.
Just tough. Remember, I don't know if you know Rebecca Wilson. She was a tough journo, and she passed away a few years ago.
Did she do 60-minute stuff?
No, she was a sports journo, but she was one of those ones like in Sydney where people fucking hated her because she'd go. But if she went, it was like she wasn't like just. For as far as she was always very nice to me, Rebecca Wilson. Like I loved her. She was great, but she was fucking ruthless as a writer. Like if you fucked up, she ripped your head off, like in the papers. Yeah. And I stood there in Paddington. Is it the Paddington Inn, a pub? Sydney?
Paddington Hotel.
Something like that. Like one of those joints. We'd on a Tuesday night we'd film, then we'd go to the Paddington Inn after or whatever. And I'm just talking to her, and some bloke just walked up. I can't even say. I know we're swearing that word. He's like, "You're a fucking," a C word, and threw a fucking glass of red wine over her face and her dress. I was like shaking, fucking like shock, and she just went, "Fuck off, you jibberer," and just continued the conversation to me. And I was like, "What? Fuck, Rebecca, you all right?" Like she was
covered in wine.
Covered in wine. Didn't even wipe it off. Just went, fuck
tough
off,
as
you
nails,
gibber.
mate.
Just fucking tough as nails. And yes, that was cool. And then that, so just, yeah.
Was that when you knew you were like, this is my career path now, get on it and crush it out?
That was cool as shit.
Because that's the shift from that journalism thing to actually pretty much what you're doing now.
Yeah, it was just, that then led to radio and everything I've done since.
But the funny side of journalism.
Yeah.
Really?
Well, it's not even journalism. I actually get offended. And,
what would you call it then? Because it's like it's literally having great conversations with awesome people.
Yeah, I guess it is in a way. But, as we said, we've just like been talking about journalism in a different light. To me, it's like when people go, you're a journalist. Like, oh, fuck. Almost,
you don't want to be put in that category.
Yeah. Because I end up doing a journalism degree at
presenter,
but
it's almost like you're a professional conversationist.
Well, exactly.
Talk shit.
Well, you look at your, you got to put something under your Instagram these days. I was looking at that, what the fuck am I? Like, people put digital creator. Am I a creator? That's a bit fucking. I think I'm a digital creator. I don't even know what the fuck that means. I guess we're digitally creating shit now, but
that can be the demise of some shows these days. Like the NRL footy show. Like it went no good, mate, because they were too serious all the time. And then you got shows like the Matty John show, and I sit there and watch it 3 times a week. It's the most funniest fucking show in the world. But they're still interviewing people, but they just haven't got that journalism side of it where it's fucking boring.
No, yeah.
You can have a bit of tongue in cheek, like a bit of humour to it. I don't think I was going to ask you about this as well with radio, because things like these podcasts where there's no rules and you have unlimited access to the world, like where do you see all this happening? Because like TV, if you're not doing a good show that connects with people these days, I just don't know where the whole entire industry is going to go.
Well, and the answer is like no one knows. Like if you're in print at the moment, there, like if you go to Courier Mail headquarters at Bowen Hills, they got fucking. Well, they used to. They're starting to use them. They got empty little television studios where they're trying to embrace wherever that media is going now. In radio, we're buying into like world like Acast, which is a worldwide Swedish-owned podcast fucking company, because they're trying to work out how the fuck you make money out of podcasting and things like that. So, and digital and fucking, we're filming in radio now. We film everything we do. We're filming bits. So no one really. I don't think anyone's worked out how to monetize it in a serious way yet. But everyone's putting themselves in that sphere. So when it does happen, or they work out how to do it, at least you've got a foot in it, kind of thing.
Because all your stuff with Nova now goes to podcasts as well.
Yeah, we have a podcast.
So what's the difference between what you do in the mornings and a podcast now?
We add at the top. We add like a unique bit of we might go
content,
20 seconds. It might go 10 minutes, depending on how we feel. We have a middle bit and an end bit. We just add, and then the rest of it's just the basically the raw pieces of the show.
Yeah.
But on top of that, then we got like Mitch Lewis, the king, Wally Lewis's son. He's just a fucking brilliant guy. He's the first person you'd employ in any business. If I ever had a business, he's like he just gets it. He's a guy that guy you work with. You just go fucking, oi, Mitch, you know the idea I had? Can we? And he goes, yeah, got it. So that, and that's hard to find, particularly in a creative sort of space. Someone, you can have, or you had someone before, not bagging. It's a really hard thing to do. Like the person before that didn't really know us, and you'd ask them to do something, you'd watch it, and go, oh, fuck, that's not what I wanted, but
just clicks,
which means
understands
just clicks, So he's filming it. We've got 5 cameras in the studio. We're lit like it's a TV. We've all got like sideway big plasma, like LED, whatever, fucking TVs behind us with fucking the river and fucking that's Kip and Luttsy. It looks like a TV set. We've only just started doing that now, and then we film everything, and which again trying to work out
hitting all different types of media.
But isn't it funny? Like everyone listens to them in the morning, but yet the 5 seconds where they go to a song and they're just talking shit to each other, that's what everyone wants to hear.
Yeah, it's the
that'd be a way better radio show.
I think they got you this morning. He's blowing his nose, and like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, you just played 2 songs, then when all of a sudden when we go back on radio, you're fucking blowing your nose. Like I fucking sneeze. What do you want me to do? Like it's just
that's
it's
me getting
normal.
a little blasé about the process.
It's just normal. Like you've had 2 songs to blow your nose.
Fucking nose.
And then as soon as they go, they start talking. He's blowing his nose. You're fucking wrong.
Action.
I literally did as soon as they came back. What are you doing?
Zero fucks. Zero fucks.
Which is good. It's good to feel that way.
But that's what people want.
It's that connection from being a real human. You're relatable then. If you're out of that league, I think that's what a lot of people who are like too out of touch.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, you're just like me as well. But it's the funny stories in life. And like you're unique because you get to hang out with or interview or catch up with like crazy people. Yeah. So like I've heard and seen some of your stuff on Instagram. There's one story in particular when you were in LA. And I saw that you were in a nightclub and you ran into a famous porn star, Mr. Ron Jeremy.
Very controversial. Yeah. I think Ron's. Don't Google Ron at the moment. I think Ron's in a little bit of trouble at the moment.
Oh,
so
really?
Everything we say about Ron Jeremy at the moment comes with a grain of salt. That he's
what?
Well, I think he's probably
gone.
He's been fucking feeling chicks' asses and shit for 30 years, and it's catching up with him. So Ron's in trouble. But having said that,
Me Too caught up with it real bad.
Yeah, no, I think he's fucked. Like he's Harvey Weinstein fucked. I don't know, but whatever.
I was in San Francisco when I saw you, and I was like, holy shit.
Of course.
Yeah, and I remember I texted you, and you were like, I was like, you with fucking Ron Jeremy? You're like, yes. And that's all you wrote back.
Yes.
I was watching your story.
The beauty of LA is
has that been deleted off Instagram yet?
I saved it deep down these stories.
It's fuck. I'll tell you, like it's because the thing is, it's not as if it's like you run into him. It's a once in a lifetime. If you hang out in West Hollywood long enough, you fucking run into him every night. Like he's out every night, either at the Rainbow.
How
Room.
old is that motherfucker?
Oh, he looks fucking ancient. The first
he's not in a good way.
You look him up. Is he in jail already? Is he in jail?
So what he got done for?
Oh, just like
everything.
Chicks.
Yeah, he's pleads not guilty to 20 new charges of sexual assault against 13 women. Faces possible life sentence.
It's pretty much every chick that he's ever. It's like casting couch stuff. Where
he's going to be blowing people in jail for the rest of his life. It is what it is.
Yeah, he's fucked. But
he's
getting paid to fuck the best looking girls in America, and then he's in jail.
Yeah, he's fucked. But he was like, there's this one bar. Have you been? Look, you been to LA much?
Yeah.
There's one bar there's this little area in West Hollywood, but it's pretty cliched. I just love it because it's just shit happens. Like you just go there and like the hotel you stay in, shit happens that you just don't believe. And then, you know, there's 2 hotels I stay in, and there's the bars around there. I've met Ron Jeremy probably 4 times. He's played Waltzing Matilda on a harmonica to me, Ron Jeremy.
You actually lived there for a bit, didn't you?
Yeah, I lived there for 6 months in that area, and then when I go back there, I stay there all the time.
Yeah.
But
Do you want another beer?
yeah, I'd love a 4X.
Plug of the
Pays the
year.
mortgage.
Yeah, I know.
We got a close up of that.
Bigger camera.
Big shout out to the unofficial host sponsors.
But
He's getting paid. Don't
Oh,
worry
no,
about
I
it.
know he's getting paid.
But there's
Instead of
one.
footy after
There's
this.
one fucking bar. It's kind of a touristy bar called the Saddle Ranch up on West Hollywood, where like something just always happens there. Like just fucking like for better or for worse, you'll either get your fucking credit card stolen by some prostitute that's fucking at the top of the bar, and that's happened to me.
Dude,
I was going to say
That actually happened. I've been fleeced. It's still my favourite bar in the world. I've been fleeced like fucking 10K.
What?
I got my money back up about 6 months.
credit card.
credit card.
Thank you, Commonwealth Bank. Yeah.
Yeah. I walked down to LA and literally had my card swiped with a 1-minute walk.
Yeah, no.
By the time we got to the
You've got
airport,
to have your fucking wits
you were
about
done.
it. Like,
Really?
yeah,
it's not-
card unblocked, everything.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it dangerous, but just if you get drunk, the people will
You're
fucking
fucked.
fleece you. Like that.
Take
yeah,
advantage of you.
because
Scams
you
will.
want to you're buying drinks and shit and acting like you're the whatever. But this Saddle Ranch was like I spent 2 nights. It's like a U-shaped bar where you can sit at the bar and Breaking Bad. You ever watch that
Yes.
show?
Yes.
Dean Norris, who's like the DEA, whatever, the other bald guy, he's like the brother-in-law, whatever the fuck he is. You know,
I can't remember. I started watching it and then
he's Walter White's brother-in-law, I think. I don't know what he watched. Anyway, I've spent 2 nights in a row just sitting with him. Like he's fucking blind drunk. I think he's got problems.
He's got you reckon?
He was filming CSI New York. For some reason, they film it in Los Angeles.
Of course
I guess
they do.
that's what they do. But I spent 2 genuine. I've interviewed him like on Nova, saying, "Man, you're that fucking guy." Yeah, we spent 2 nights genuinely just.
He remembered you.
Yeah, he did. Well, he spent 2 whole nights. I'm talking like till 3 a.m. nights just drinking piss together. But that was when I first met Ron Jeremy. I was at that. I sit in the same seat. They got little gold bits on the seats where you can actually, if you drink there enough, they put your name on your seat. So if you walk in,
wow.
people got to fuck off, and you can you sit there. And I don't gather enough, but they've said they'd give me one for $1,000. I've thought about buying it, so your name's on your seat.
Heck was that?
But Ron was about 3 seats down from me. I'm like, fuck, that's Ron Jeremy, and he was just this Eastern European chick, just like, and it was like
What's
fucking
yours?
1 p.m. There's no one else there. Like we're the only ones there. And I'm just like, it's fucking Ron Jeremy. And I'm just listening to their conversation. And the conversation,
what were they talking about?
literally the conversation was Ron just going, go on, touch my dick, touch my dick. Touch my dick. Come on, you touch it. And she's like Eastern European going, no, I'm not going to touch your dick. No.
Really?
No, you touch my dick. touch
This
my
is
dick.
why he's in jail right now.
This is why he's fucked
That was
up.
one of the girls.
Okay, this was
Oh
like,
my god!
I hope no one in America. I don't want to fucking be in front of a court on fucking Zoom call next
Witness.
week.
Witness.
But it was, like it was just, and he was like, no, don't. And you're like, no, come on, you can touch my dick.
Fuck.
You can touch my dick. And then I end up chatting to him for like, that's when he goes, he heard me order a drink, and he started, you're Australian. He pulls a fucking mouth organ out.
You
of
asked
his
her the same
pocket
question, mate.
And starts,
Yeah, you took a seat, didn't you?
Arsey, touch my dick. I touched his dick.
Luttsy, touch your dick.
I
Touch my
I
dick.
didn't touch his dick. But
But did you let him touch your dick? Yeah.
he touched mine. I
Just for a
didn't touch
second.
it. But he played Waltzing Matilda on his mouth organ.
That's
and
crazy.
I ended up getting the business card off the fucking girl. What the fuck? I don't know what her go was. I've still got her business card. Some Katerina blah, blah, blah. She was
Oh
like
my
an
God.
actress / fucking whatever.
Porn star.
Actress.
Yeah, whatever. Musician.
Mattress-
singer.
mattress actress.
Let's be real though. The bloke is fucking ugly.
Oh,
Yeah, he's ugly as sin, but he wasn't ever that good looking.
he looks like a dead man. Like when that night, it looked like a thing from Alice in Wonderland because you just went, "Look on my with,"
Oh, yeah.
and it was just rolling around the room, and I went,
That-
"Oh my god!"
That night he was fucked, but he'll just sit slumped in a chair out in that rainbow room. I don't know whether he owns it. Like there's when you walk around the rainbow room, there's photos of him in his younger days, like with the fucking owners and with fucking Poison or Bon Jovi and shit. So like, I don't know whether he can just slump there and fucking be drooling, and they just leave him there. Like
He gets
he's
people in the
part of
place.
the
He gets people in
he's
there.
part of the furniture there. It's fucked up. Yeah.
I have to admit, I when someone says Ron Jeremy because of a famous porn star, I never forget someone go, "Oh yeah, I'll show you Ron Jeremy porno," and he was fucking sitting back, and a lady was squirting milk out of her tits, and he was drinking it. That's the only thing I've got of Ron Jeremy.
I
He
don't
released the rum, It was in the bottle
No,
shop and
I
everything.
know. It was
Yeah.
like-
Yeah.
no, he did.
Yeah, he had this.
I think he toured Australia with it.
Yeah,
think he
it
was
was.
here.
It went through Dan
he was on the
Murphy's.
football show. I mean, the footy
The
show.
footy show.
Yeah, once.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, he was.
Did he tell you any good stories, or was he just that
No,
fucked
he's
up?
just fucked up. Like,
That was ages ago. How long ago was that? Like,
Well, that was 4 years, I reckon.
yeah, the last time I saw him was probably only 3 years ago.
Oh, that was the same time you were there.
Yeah.
Over there, yeah.
Oh yeah, was it?
Yeah,
3 years or 4 years ago?
it's 4 years.
fuck, I
I've
don't
been
know.
over there every,
Fuck.
all the time.
He's in
Uh,
trouble.
So you've. Who was probably the biggest interview apart from Bono? Like, who was the biggest interview you had?
Well, again, it gets back to that. People say, "Who have you met?" And for me, it's like, well, interviewing them is not really meeting. I don't feel like interviewing them is meeting them. Like, I had a genuine, 10-minute convo with Will Smith, and he was cool as fuck.
off.
Yeah, so like,
No way.
he was out here for iRobot, which was a film. Thank you.
No worries.
Which was a film. I don't know. Fuck, must have been 10, probably 15.
Yeah,
15,
iRobot.
16
That was a
years ago
scary
now.
fucking movie when it first came out.
Yeah, I can't remember. I don't think
Yeah.
I did the red.
This
I
is
must have been
weird.
on the fat.
Get worried about fucking
AI.
robot-
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was
Yeah,
all
it was
that sort of shit.
yeah.
Yeah. But he did the red carpet in Sydney, the
Uh-huh.
whole fucking launch and everything.
Yeah.
And geez, 4X tastes a lot different to dry when you have it back to back.
What's the tasting
the
notes on it, mate?
Well, 4X dry is a very easy drinking. Yeah, gold tastes like it's a bit more heavier. Even though
Really?
it's not,
It tastes
even
like
though
full
it's
strength?
not. Yeah.
Queensland's VB.
I think it does say full flavored, mate.
Yeah, it
Full-
tastes like
full
a more of a
flavour.
heavier. When I say heavier, I just mean heavier taste than. That's an easy drinking drink. That one.
Are these replacing the Summers?
I think if you look deep enough into it,
It is.
it would be kind of doing that, but kind of countering Great Northern, which is CUB's beer, which goes pretty well the further north you go.
Yep.
Initially, I think they're all trying to fight off Corona, which is still a massive seller.
Surely
but,
Corona's gone now.
No,
What,
Corona's
in North
still,
Queensland.
Oh, not up
No,
North
like in
Queensland.
Corona, as in.
Oh,
like the
Corona.
beer.
Oh,
Corona.
Corona
Oh.
at sort of swanky bars, I reckon Corona would be the best beer selling
course.
still.
It's
It's
I
still
paid
pretty
$14
big.
for once in Singapore.
it's the least flavoursome
What else did you
beers.
pay
It's
for in
easy
Singapore,
drinking.
mate?
Yeah, I know.
Wasn't
speaks-
$14.
You don't get much
Four
$14
floors
in
of
Singapore.
whores.
Oh,
You know what that is.
you know what? I actually do, and you know what? I went to go with. This is fucked up.
I've got a good story too.
I've actually never been in the 4 floors of halls, but I did try and
It's
get
not
in.
as bad as it seems.
I was traveling with the
Explain it,
Australian Paralympic team, and this is true story.
This is getting worse.
And we came back through Singapore, and I tried to get in the 4 floors of hall with like 5 wheelchair athletes,
Oh, there's all
What is it?
escalators.
and we didn't get in.
So
I don't know.
all it
we had
is-
a chick with us, and they went, oh, it's not for you, and yeah, and they,
Chicks.
yeah, they
Oh,
we had a
fair
girl with us, a girl athlete. And they
So
went,
now
they went, no, not for you.
How long
and
ago
we
was that?
2004 Athens
Oh, yeah, it
Paralympics.
was
Oh.
quite-
Yeah.
So I'd say like 2011 or 12. Rick McMahon, he was over there riding. He said, "Oh, I was suspended." I said, "Come over for a holiday." So I went over there for a holiday. He goes, "Oh, you got to go to this fucking place. It's fucking crazy."
It's like a circus.
They call it
To be
4
honest,
floors.
it's kind of like a
It's like a
circus.
circus. It's not
Yeah,
like
yeah.
halls,
Okay.
halls,
You
but
go
yeah.
there, like, it's like the red light district
Yeah,
Nance.
yeah,
You
you
walk
gotta-
through
you
it,
walk
just-
through
you
it,
gotta have a
everyone
look
has
at
a
it. Yeah.
Anyway, so you go to every level's got a different bar. And you go up and you go right to the top. The top's the best one.
I don't know
So
where-
you go right-
yeah.
And then, you're sitting there and drinking. These girls are swarming to you, and you feel like almighty. You know what I mean? And then you just leave. But 90% of them are trannies. Like it's
That's what I'm saying.
both sides.
I think from
And-
my understanding is one whole floor is like
One whole
trannies.
floor. So
Yeah,
anyway,
wow.
we're
Yeah.
going there, and me and Rick, like we're small guys, you know what I mean? And we're going down the floor, down the escalator, and there's this lady at the bottom of the escalator, and she goes, "Oh, where are you guys off to?" And Rick goes, "We're going home." She goes, "Okay." I'm like, "Holy shit!"
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, it's got to be seen.
Yeah, you kind of want to have.
It's like a
I
circus.
haven't been
It's
to. I've
exactly-
just been to the
it's like a
airport
circus.
in Singapore. I haven't been outside of it yet. So I wanted to do the
That's the only time
Singapore
I've been there.
Singapore Grand Prix.
Oh, you did that?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
I want to do that, and then same with Monaco Grand Prix. They're like
Well, me and
two
Luke have
bucket
been
lists.
Yeah,
dying
I've
to get to Monaco once.
Yeah.
Well, I got mates that have been to Singapore. That's become one of kind of a new pilgrimage, like a sporting pilgrimage. I reckon it's unreal.
Singapore.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
meant
the,
to be.
the Singapore Grand Prix.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
it's meant to be
Because
Because
phenomenal.
it's a nighttime one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it? Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, I really want to do Monaco next year because they missed this year's one. So next year,
Dude, we're
if-
not going anywhere next year.
Yeah, I think you're in trouble for next year.
Let's say 2022.
Honestly, we're not going anywhere.
Like, when
know.
are they going to open? Like, I
It's
don't know.
crazy.
It's crazy.
well, overseas travel though,
We can't
You're-
even go to New
you're-
South Wales.
yeah, well,
We
they
can.
open up
We
slowly.
go to Byron now. Oh,
New South
next week.
Wales, New South Wales
Yeah.
open up next this week.
Just that they've opened up 5
A
local
bubble.
local government, like Ballina,
Yeah.
Byron, fucking
Did
someplace
you hear
west
about
where
all
no one
the
goes.
real famous people that are in Byron at the moment?
Yeah,
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's
Isn't
all
it?
of Hemsworth, mates.
They just get over it. They
I'm
isolate
in-
for 2
I'm in-
weeks, straight to fire.
I'm part of Team Hemsworth, mate.
Oh, yeah.
I'm in the inner sanctum. I'm like, I've got
I'm surprised you
I've
haven't got a
got
house down there.
connections
You
there.
haven't got a house down there?
I'm as soon as it opens, I'm going to head down and I'm not going to hang out with Chris Hemsworth.
Who's the other
but
guy?
Zach's still in.
Zac Efron.
Zac
He's down
Efron's
there. He's
there.
got a girlfriend down there now.
Yeah, he's
Some
dating
cafe
a
girl.
dating from a cafe. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great story for me because that's just. That's the classic big dog's got to eat. Like, honestly, I know that they're going to watch his
Dog's
girlfriend.
gotta eat.
It ain't his
What's
fucking.
that mean?
Well, it means it ain't his fucking girlfriend. It means Zac Efron's in Byron. He's been there for 6 months, and big dog's got to eat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's some like it's the same as if fucking Emily Ratajkowski found herself in Byron Bay for 6 months during COVID.
He's dating a
she's-
surfer.
She's got to fuck someone. Well, I'm not. Is this out of line? Like
No, it's not.
some lucky
She's
fucking some lucky little
That could
fucking
run- you know,
mulleted fucking surfer in
in-
Byron Bay is going to be having sex with Emily Ratajkowski
100%.
for 6 months
100%.
just because he can play fucking
Zac Efron-
just because he can play Hey Jude on his fucking guitar.
Zac Efron's
And he's
going to
got
be
weed.
a movie
He's got a
soon.
fucking weed
It's
at
like
the back of
something
his
from a
house.
movie.
Yes.
Like
What?
meeting a
Well-
girl at the cafe, a love story.
They'll probably-
She's all right. She looks like a beautiful girl and
Yeah,
blah blah
I've
blah.
never
But
seen
you know, like in fairness, she probably should never be fucking Zac Efron.
Probably never have had the opportunity if he didn't get stuck in Corona.
Thank you. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Career
You know, like-
highlight. Career
Productive
highlight.
environment.
But the cool, like Matt Damon's down there a lot, and I've generally got this connection with Team Hemsworth, as I call it. I don't know Chris. I've met Chris a couple of times.
Yeah.
Don't really know him, but I know his crew. A guy called Zoc. Zoc is his trainer,
Yeah.
and Aaron's his manager. And then there's a crew that I met when Thor was down there being filmed, and a good mate of mine does the logistics for all their flights and that sort of shit. And he lives down there as well. And he says, I never did it because I don't know what the hell I was doing about a year ago. He's going, mate, what are you doing this weekend? Matt Damon, he just wants to go fucking drink beer in pubs.
Stop it.
Come down. And I think I was working or some shit.
What? You couldn't
going on,
go?
And I didn't go. I actually had work. I couldn't go. Like, he reckons, he just wants to sit there and just drink beer.
Apparently he's meant to be a really
He
good guy.
fucking sounds like a legend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's meant to be, and super polite.
They say
Like,
that-
Just cool as
How
shit.
cool is
like
it
no
that-
airs
cruise
or
under the
graces.
radar. Yeah.
Like if I was that famous, I'd be the biggest fucking asshole. So would you. You'd be
Yeah.
fucking.
I'll be the worst.
You'd be the worst.
You go, look, it's Luke Swenson. Like, who?
What
Luke,
the
you know
fuck?
your mate?
Get the
Fuck off,
fucking
bro.
fuck out of
Are
here.
you fucking serious? I'm doing Rogan next week. You fucking lightweight. Never call me again.
Get on the phone, burn that dude's house down.
The bearded what?
You'd be dead. You'd be dead. You'd have red fucking lights on you within 5 minutes. It's like, what the fuck? How the fuck did that fucking Wiggins?
He's a maniac.
He's
All I did
massive.
was ask if I could get an autograph.
We used to be friends.
Just asked him to touch my dick. Like, what the fuck? Rude little prick.
Ron Jeremy, motherfucker.
reckon
So
for everyone.
we get like everyone who's. I just had the biggest fucking budget. Oh my god!
Where you go?
So we all have done a lot of traveling in our careers and stuff. But for you, Luttsy, when you're traveling as well, do you always combine holiday with pleasure? Because I know you take a part of a bit of time every year to have a bit of a break and switch off. But are
yeah.
you still working over there as well? Or?
Well, yeah.
He's a hustler. Of course he is.
Well, the answer is, you know,
Hey, if
well,
if,
it depends
if,
who's
if,
asking. Yeah, I'm working.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I travel to LA, I'm working.
Forrest, you
yeah,
need to go to
yeah,
LA.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
go.
But honestly, no, not really. I mean, yeah, you could argue that.
'Cause how-
you
'cause
could argue that everyone you meet kind of helps you. And
100%,
Yeah, like, and
yeah.
I've met some pretty amazing people overseas, and now I'm doing some podcasts and stuff with some people in LA and New York. So I
Yeah.
guess technically, just being a decent human that gets on the piss with people in LA and people like you, they want to fucking work with you, and that's helping me.
But do you get like burnt out and fatigued? Like I know in my business, like building it and working with everything, I get flogged out and no break at all. But in journalism or
we get good
entertainment and stuff
we
like that,
get pretty good holidays. So
yeah.
so not really, to be honest.
At least he's honest.
Yeah.
No,
I'm
not
like, I
really.
get burnt out
No.
every 3 weeks.
Yeah,
Oh,
'Cause,
you get
I know
bonus when
Ryan.
You think you're getting burnt out.
Is it
Yeah.
physical and mental though? Because you still like I don't
Oh,
know. You might just
No. The answer is no. Like I'm pretty lucky, but having said that, like I'm a pretty lazy human being. Like I don't like working that much. So getting up early in the
So
mornings.
yeah, how you
fucks
go
me,
getting
like,
in the mornings?
yeah.
No, getting there in the mornings is fine, but like you become a bit of a grumpy fucker mid-afternoon.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
Between
I don't
11
like-
and 1?
I don't like answering my phone.
the worst.
Yeah, I don't answer
Yeah.
my phone.
Yeah.
You become like you kind of. I guess it's a kind of, and particularly if you're on the weekends, if you fucking your body clock's out of whack because you inevitably I'll go out once on a weekend or something. So you kind of turn your body clock on its head once a week. So I kind of feel like I've been jet lagged for 15 years. You're a bit of a
Mondays.
You're a bit of a miserable fuck through the afternoon
Yeah.
sometimes. Like I look forward to the day. I won't be getting paid, so I won't look forward to that bit. But I look forward to the day when I'm sleeping into normal hours and just fucking living a normal day and not being grumpy. But yeah, other than that.
So what's next in the career for you?
It's a very good question, isn't it?
Yeah, because you got your new podcast on. That's
I'm doing.
Going it.
I mean, I'm not. I set up. I've got to set up like similar to this sort of thing where I just want to more say just for an excuse to talk. Like the best thing about traveling for me is and the people I've met, they've thought, fuck, we get along real well. Like we should do something. You know what I mean? Like I got a guy in New York that I've never really. I've just been contacting this week. A guy called Brad Blanks. You ever heard of Brad? He's done a bit of stuff with Hamish and Andy. He's an Aussie guy. I met his uncle at the Melbourne Cup back a million years ago.
Rings a bell.
And he's a good guy. Just fucking. And when we sit and have a beer in New York, we go, fuck man, we got to do this. Whenever you do for work, you feel like you're on a bit of a higher level where you're just fucking thinking, and that's a fucking good idea. And that's hilarious. Let's fucking do that. And then you come back and find your plateau a bit when you come back home. And so I miss not doing stuff with him. So I want to just. At the moment, I'm lucky enough I'm doing Nova, so I can, I can pay the bills, and I still got the time to be able to just fuck around doing stuff with talented people. And that's, I figure if you do that long enough, it'll manifest into something. You know what I mean?
Well, you got your own following and everything now, so
yeah, in Brisbane, but like I haven't really got a following anywhere else.
Well, you're international now. What are you talking about?
Well, yeah, no one gives a fuck about it.
Dude, he had his own fucking.
Ron Jeremy's in
beer?
jail.
Did you have your own beer?
Yeah, but that's just
That's ginger beer.
Was it a beer?
No, ginger
what are you
beer.
talking
That's
Ginger beer,
that's smoke and
ginger beer.
mirrors,
You've been
though.
in movies as well. I saw.
What?
Yeah.
Are you fucking serious?
No.
I've played bit parts in some
Bullshit.
Australian films.
So
Ron Jeremy's
I
movies.
didn't know that.
Who's the boom guy? No, what is it?
Honestly, I've been in.
It was called Cadets USA
Well, that was a DVD. I was the star of that one.
and Crooked Business.
Crooked Business was a Chris Neist film. That was like the follow-up to Getting Square, which was Getting Square was a really famous David
Movie,
Wenham film.
yeah.
But Crooked Business was like a Gold Coast, it was the same director, Chris Neist. He's like a criminal lawyer, pretty amazing guy. And he directed it. Same guy that directed Getting Square. And I was like a fucking Melbourne taxi driver in it. Like,
I have to watch this movie.
I'm not a serious fucking actor.
You should have told me this. I would have watched this before.
I'm in Subdivision, which is a film that Ash, my co-host, wrote. And whatever, blah, blah, blah.
Because that was.
But
that
even
had
then,
a
you
bit
got
of
to blink
flavour.
and you miss me kind of thing. But it's
Extra.
just fun.
He's an
But
extra.
I want to do some of that shit. But I think it's like
Do you enjoy that? Is it?
I think what's cool is that the fact that like this setup we have now with fucking we got like 1, 2, 3, 4 cameras. We've got fucking a very attractive guy over there fucking making all the
Hayden.
everything happen, Hayden. Like this setup 20 years ago, you're fucking kidding yourself.
This is a radio setup
You
20
can't
years ago.
afford it. You couldn't afford to do this. And now,
Was this better than the radio setup, the one you first did in the little
100%.
The Hypermart.
100%. We had like a reel-to-reel fucking player. Like,
Oh, really?
honestly, that was
Yeah.
like to do a phone interview. Like I worked out that bud earphones. Like you had to like I worked out. This was great as a young fella trying to get into the industry. Like to do a phone interview, I was like, how the fuck am I going to do? There's no like phone interview. I can't do it. So I worked out that if I plugged the headphones into the reel-to-reel player and put that fader up, that one of the headphones, and to this very day, I think this still works. One of the headphones, either your left or your right, is a fucking microphone. And if you put that up to the fucking earpiece of your phone, and I dial someone and fucking with a rubber band hold it there, I'll be doing interviews with sports people.
Really?
Yeah, on the
No way.
Yeah, 100%. One of your headphones, these are the ones we're wearing now. One of them one of these is a
Give me a mic.
microphone. Yeah.
You should be an engineer.
I don't know how I fucking worked that out, but
You're a fucking
through-
genius.
through working at a shopping centre, you
You're
had to
fucking
work shit
genius.
out like that.
Oh my God.
So I did, yeah.
Well, going back to the travelling part, because you did a bit of time in Mauritius
Yeah.
riding over there. Did you know
that's
that?
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool.
How long? You were over there for like a year?
Where's
4 years.
Mauritius?
It's a little
Seriously?
island in the middle.
It's a
of
small island.
nowhere.
I always explain it to people as a smaller island of South Africa.
Mm.
It's Australia's version of it's a South African's version of Bali for
Okay.
Australians. Yeah, so it's a little island, but a lot of people live there, like 1.2 million people. It's a quarter the size of Tasmania, and they love horse racing. Like it's 200 years.
Really?
old. Yeah,
'Cause
it's crazy.
Yeah, because
You go to the races.
you were a
like
rock star over there. You had to have
20,000 people
security
there,
and shit.
20,000 people. Not security. I don't go that far.
You
20,000
get
people.
stalked by people.
So you go
Awesome.
there,
Yeah.
and obviously they're Muslim, but Indian, French, so all three mixed together.
Right.
And then white, nightclub tan, young fella, but they know you're a jockey straight away, and they just harass you. It's like I'd say everyone. It's like being a movie star. Like you imagine
Really?
like Tom Hanks walking down the street, like everyone fucking knows who he is. That's what we're walking down Mauritius, like that's fucking that jockey, you know, like
Yeah, wow.
they and straight away they think because it's traditionally, not to say traditionally, but I'd say 70% of the population are very poor, and the other 30 are very wealthy. And obviously, the 30% wealthy obviously run sort of racing and the government and that sort of thing. But yeah, they see you and they want to take photos with you, and they want you to ask you what your best ride is on the weekend because they think they can make money because they're poor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but they roll out to the race. It was crazy. I tried to get Luke to come over once. But yeah, it was good.
Time.
Yeah, it was really good.
How good is that? So
Yeah.
you mean like Bali is in like
Beautiful,
beaches
like-
and
It's
everything?
stunning.
Stunning.
Yeah, it's like
Hey,
rock.
way better than Bali.
Yeah.
Cleaner. Yeah.
There's beautiful rock formations all around the coast.
Around
and
the
stuff.
Really?
around
Yeah.
the whole island, there's a coral all the way, and no sharks can get in or waves
Yeah.
I'm
and
going to
stuff.
say great whites are a bit
Nothing.
nasty there, but
It's meant to be good hunting.
There's a
as
little
well.
island. Yeah, there's a there's
Yeah.
a hunting. Like Luke loves hunting, obviously.
what are you hunting?
Anything.
Anything that we can eat, sustainable. I actually haven't hunted these.
Well, what do you mean? Oh, you mean hunting?
Yeah, hunting.
Right.
hunting.
okay.
Yeah, yeah.
I was
So
just looking
for
at
meat. Yeah. So these are two as a Blesbok.
Tell us about this fella.
That's Blesbok, and it's a Springbok. So Larry and Barry, I've called them. And
Is that a real?
yeah, yeah,
that real?
this is real. So one of my
It's
mates,
fucking
he's
real.
he's a civil engineer, and he went over and got a job in Africa. Don't know what country in Africa, and he went for a safari, and so he paid like $50,000 for this safari, and it goes to the villages, and they take him out for 2 days, and he got these two and a zebra, and it pays pretty much for almost 4 months. If one person pays for 4 months of like
The village.
village.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, and then they do all the taxidermy and everything and send it back off, and then the village keeps all the meat, and so it goes out to all.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, so
okay,
it's
cool.
full.
Yeah.
It's proper hunting
So
and
it's not
Sustainable stuff.
sustainable, and they use everything. Like I'm a massive passionate person about hunting, but you hunt and then you eat it. And you harvest
Yeah,
everything
right.
about it. You don't just go out there going,
Yeah,
got a
yeah.
lion like that.
Yeah.
That dude.
The lion.
Yeah. I gotcha. Yeah.
And yeah, over there they've got I think they've got some rare or an unusual type of deer or something.
Deer in Mauritius, yeah.
Yeah, in Mauritius.
But
And
they have hunting. What do they call? What do they call? Like an area?
Safaris.
No, not a safari. Like a
Parks or
park.
yeah.
A hunting park where you pay
Reserves.
to go there.
Yeah,
reserve.
reserve.
Yeah, yeah.
And they also have his deer there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's very popular. And look, like when I told Luke he was going to think about coming over, it's very popular, the deer hunting over there, yeah.
And it feeds a lot of the island as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
Like it's
Yeah,
the
that's
main
good.
part
Yeah,
of their
okay.
resource for
That's cool.
it's
You
instead
ever
of
tried
cows.
it? You ever tried venison?
Oh, I don't know. I feel like I've tried venison.
We'll have to take you on a
at some
hunt.
point, but
That's
yeah.
gross.
Come out and hunt. Would you do
You
that?
would you do that?
Oh yeah, I'm not really that into it, but
It's like
I don't fucking know. I'll come hunting with if you really want me to.
You'll do
What,
anything
here?
I spoke.
Well-
Fucking Brisbane. What do you put here? Like, is there hunting in Brisbane?
yeah,
Just go to
yeah. We've got
fucking
properties.
Val, where do we go?
Queensland's the-
Properties, yeah, 100%.
Properties
We'll
full
go.
I'm not like, yeah, I've been out west, but I'm not fucking hopeless at it. Like,
Yeah.
I don't like being a liability and that sort of shit. Same like deep sea fishing. I feel like I'd be seasick and that, so I don't do
Yeah.
that. Yeah, but
You just gotta be half fit.
I
That's it.
fucked my leg. I went out with Andrew Simons and I went out once to a property called Esmeralda in southwest Queensland, which is like it's 1 million acres, which as far as I can tell is like from
That is huge.
here to the Gold Coast squared sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like, it's a huge chunk
My
of
friend's got
Queensland.
1 million acres. It's from Taroom to Rockhampton.
Yeah, wow.
Like, it is
it's
just
huge. It's a lot
unbelievable amount of land.
It's a big chunk of Queensland. But at day 2, I'm on his fucking quad bike. Don't even know how to ride it. I'm hopeless. And Andrew Simons is like fucking, man 5,000. And he's like, Luttsy, fucking chase that heifer or some fucking thing. I don't even know what he said. But anyway, there was a cow or something with 4 legs. I was like, so I don't even know how to do reverse. I don't even know anything. Anyway, long story short, I fucking run into a tree. And like my leg, I've still got this wicked scar on my shin about that long. Because it's like for the next 8 days, I thought I'd fucking broke my leg. Somehow I didn't. It's almost, you got to like be a fucking, You got to go like that to hurt your leg because your legs are inside the fucking, inside
in the wheels.
Wheels,
Yeah.
so, but not when you go.
You must have been half
so
out.
my leg went out and fucking and I'm wedged, and I'm like, Andrew, like I don't know how to reverse. I don't know even how to
I'm
work
stuck.
the thing. I'm stuck, and he comes out. What the fuck? And like, it's like my leg's bleeding. It's like a big gash. But for 8 days, then I've just got to harden the fuck up because it's not bad enough to bring in the flying doctors, which is the only way you get treated. So I'm literally just bandaging it every day and just fucking hobbling around and just drinking piss to cover.
And there's
the pain.
flies landing on it.
Yeah, it's fucked up. Like I can still, whenever I drink, I can feel the fucking fluid in my
Building up.
right ankle. It's bad.
It's bad.
But it's like you'd
They're
get there
buffed
that
out
night,
anyway.
and you're like, "Fuck, wouldn't mind someone. Wouldn't mind a doctor."
Any chance of an X-ray?
And you're doing that, and you're in the
Flying
middle,
doctor, please.
you're in the middle of Queensland, and like, and they go, "Fucking Gary lost his finger on Tuesday."
He just threw it in the bin.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm
Loaded
not
up
fucking
himself.
Gary, am I? Give me a fucking doctor. But yeah, so I'm not. So my answer's probably no. I'm not going hunting with you because I'll be a liability. I'll be a liability. I don't want to be a liability. I was that guy that was like, don't walk backwards out of the chopper because we're going heli fishing. They grabbed me by the fucking collar. You almost
been
walked
heli
on the
fishing?
fucking propeller again. Yeah, it was the whole thing. We'd literally land like the saltwater crocs. There's some river that runs up to the Gulf.
Yeah.
I don't even know. What
This
the fucking
on
river's
Simon's
called.
property as well.
It's not his. It was a guy called
Friends.
Esmeralda. His friend's property.
Yeah.
Michael and Trish Haid, I think, were the names.
Yeah.
Whatever. And so, you go up this whatever river that went right up to we went up to the top of Queen. In the chopper, and you'd land like the saltwater crocs would scatter off, and you'd land in the middle of the river, and get out and fucking just fish.
Yeah, fishing.
And he was
That's
like,
insane.
I'm just not cut out for it. Like I'd walk backwards. There's a fucking
crocodile.
There's a propeller.
He's not worried about the croc.
Like they grab, you fuckhead, you always get to the propeller again. And then, but I'm oblivious to the croc, so I'm standing on the water's edge, fucking fishing.
Oh,
And
God.
Simon would be like, "What are you, Luttsy? Fucking, you
Step
can't
back.
stand there, you
Step
dickhead."
back.
It's like he'd had taken because he was friends with Michael Clark for years, and then they had a massive falling out. And I was friends with Simons and his girlfriend at the time, and that when Clark and fucking Lara Bingle were friends, and they were tight as us, thick as thieves. Like to the point where I remember Simon's girlfriend going, "Check this photo out," and I was like, it was her and they were just having a shower together. It was like her and Lara Bingle having a shower. You're like, fuck.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I tried to screenshot it.
It's like Luttsy took a screenshot of you.
Fuck off, you pervert. But he was saying that, like, where you're standing now, mate, like, you took Clark there, like, 6 months earlier, and Michael Clark wouldn't even stand. He was up on the creek bed. He wouldn't even come down.
Yeah.
And like,
They
so
come out of the water.
I was saying the fucking pussy. He's the Australian cricket captain, for fuck's sake. How am I supposed to
Can
look up to
face
him?
fastballs, but not crocodiles.
Ricky Ponting would have been down there fucking wrestling it, Anyway, but that's different.
He's a man's man, isn't he?
He's a man.
He is.
Yeah.
He's an animal.
He's a fucking animal, and he was actually.
That's why so many people were scared when he bowled or batted. He was
he's
a freak.
All
He
rounder.
genuinely is a freak. But I had one of the worst experiences of my life. We went out one day hunting fucking pigs. I don't know.
Yeah. It would be pigs.
Boars. Is that a
that's
thing?
Boars,
That's
yeah.
it.
Wild boars, yeah.
In a one of those one of those cars that have been. It looks like Mad Max. They got fucking tires all over it. Like so they run into bulls and shit, and it doesn't matter. One of those. It was like a
Just
Mad
a
Max
bush bash,
mobile.
eh?
Yeah, and it was. I can't even drive a fucking manual. So I've got
Hey, we've got to organise.
I've got an automatic
Did
license.
you go to a private school?
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
You went to nudge it.
I went to Nudgy, yeah. That's got nothing to fucking do with it.
It does.
If I'd have gone to Sandgate
It
High, I
does.
still would have fucking not had a.
Hey, man,
My wife went to Somerville and she's got a boat license. So at least she can drive.
Well,
a
exactly.
boat.
She went to some private school. It's got nothing to do with my
Yeah, but-
schooling. I just got an auto car and I never learned. But we went out one day just on dusk and he shot a boar and then he goes, "Oh, Luttsy, there's some fucking boars and here, get the fucking gun. It's not loaded, but you got to load it." So you got to again. I'm using cock it. Whatever you do, you got to
Cock it. What are you using?
Is
A
that
musket.
I don't know.
No, it'd be a lever action.
I don't
It'd
know
be a
what the
lever
fuck
action with a
it was.
collar.
It wasn't loaded in his words, and I get down there some and they think fuck they run away because I didn't really want to do it. And
Oh, I
I missed. They weren't. I didn't even fire. I didn't even fire it. I just went. Oh, they're not. They didn't. It didn't happen.
Did you get no practice shots before?
No, I
Oh.
was shooting at tins the day before and shit, like whatever. But I didn't. I don't know. It's not my thing. I didn't really enjoy it. But anyway, I go no. It went away, Andrew. So here and fucking handed the gun back to him. I'm pretty sure it was like a shotgun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been 100%.
Or a rifle. I don't know, whatever. But and And I just remember we're both pissed. Like we've been drinking for days. And I just remember he put the gun like so the butt, which is at
20 legs.
the butt down, and the rifle facing up.
Oh my
about
god!
Fucking
Sounds like Full Metal Jacket.
about 6 inches in front of his face, maybe 12 inches in front of his face, and it was just on dusk and just fucking whoosh. All I can see was a fucking brightest flash.
Oh my
Like,
god!
It obviously didn't hit him. It went fucking straight up.
How long ago was this?
Oh, this was like he was still a big thing.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why you don't drink while shooting.
Oh mate, it was fucking. We
That's
really
dangerous.
haven't ever
Oh.
spoken about it. We still don't feel comfortable, even though I'm telling it now.
It's only going to like
Like,
200
It's making me
people, mate.
nervous.
It was so close to blowing his fucking head off, and we were in the middle of nowhere at dusk.
Oh.
A car that I wouldn't be able to fucking drive.
Yeah.
Even if
You're
I
in the
could,
car, I can't drive.
even if I could, I wouldn't know which way
You
to
would have
go.
been sober as fuck.
They'd found 2 German girls on the property about a week earlier that had run out of petrol. If they hadn't have, the chopper hadn't sent, they would
Oh.
just 2 German backpackers. Then were now working on the
Crazy.
ranch, whatever. I would have literally.
These have
Yes, they are.
It's- yeah, oh, and there was the best thing that ever happened. It changed the dynamic of the fucking working ethic. Two of the blokes obviously rooting the 2 German chicks. It changed the whole dynamic. It was the best thing that ever happened. To the two. They stay there for a year apparently. You know?
Oh my
It was the
God.
They
best.
disappear in Australia.
But I potentially would have like if that had blown fucking Andrew Simon's head off. Andrew Simons is dead. He's headless there, right? I don't know how to get back to
That'd
fucking.
been horrific.
I don't know how to get back to the
The ranch,
whatever.
yeah.
If I do get back to the ranch with a headless Andrew Simons,
You look like a murderer.
I fucking murdered him. My hand's all over the fucking gun. I've just fucking not killed the boar. So I honestly would have been tried for murdering
You would have had to go to
a
court.
fucking Australian sporting legend. Like, what the fuck? I would have gone to jail. Like, would I not? Like, I would have been fucked.
Maybe we should retract that hunting advice.
Well,
Yeah,
thankfully,
you're definitely not going
thankfully-
hunting with us.
yeah, I know. You do not want me hunting. at all.
Oh my, that is insane.
And,
though.
I'm telling you, it was like
What did he do after that?
it was that bad that we just went. We kind of just looked at each other and went,
Sobered up.
fuck, and just went, let's just go back. Like, it was that bad. It
Oh
was,
man.
He almost blew his head off. And he goes, you fucking loaded it. No, that's what happened eventually. I went,
Oh, so it
I
was
didn't
your fault.
fucking load
So it
it.
was your fault.
I don't even know how to fucking load it. I
Took the
didn't touch
safety
the
off.
fucking thing. I didn't touch the safety. Like, the thing was fucking loaded when he handed it to me.
Oh
But
my
these are
God.
questions I would have been telling a judge. You know? I killed. Imagine me, even if I got off or
So you loaded
ser-
the gun, so you
served
never
5
blew his head
years.
off.
I would, if I had to serve 5 years, I would have now been walking around the streets of fucking Queensland and Brisbane. That's the motherfucker that killed Andrew Simons.
Imagine what a career he would have.
Yeah, it could have been anything. They could
People
have
hated you so
He could have been
bad.
fucking commentating 2020s by now. You know, God knows what he could have been doing. Yeah, like, yeah, so.
So he's a man's man then.
Oh, he's a man's
He's a
man.
lad.
Yeah, he's a
But
man.
he
He was
He's a man's
known for
man.
a good fight as well, wasn't he?
Oh, I don't know. I can
Uh-huh.
imagine he probably would have thrown him all right. Yeah.
He's
What about the time
he's
he
a
put
big
the-
human?
He's
What
a-
about
yeah, he's a
how,
big-
How good's the video that the time that a guy run on the field did a streak?
Oh.
Yeah, we
And he
cleaned him
shoulder,
up. remember?
shoulder
Shoulder
charged
checked
him.
him, yeah.
Oh,
Knocked him.
smashed him.
Knocked
Yeah,
him.
he played league when he was
Yeah.
younger. He used to train with the Bronx and everything.
Really?
Yeah, when he was playing cricket, he used to go to Red Hill and
But he was just the
train with the Bronx.
most
was a big
jacked
guy,
cricketer out there. There's probably no one else like that in the field.
No, he was a big lad. He must have been like 6'3" or something, but he was, just fucking strong.
So is there any guys that you like met like through your work that were like you didn't expect them to be what they would be? Like say sporting or even famous people. Like you met them and they were just like I fucking didn't like them or
in
like
general,
your story about Ron Jeremy, like he was a drunk 4 years ago. So
Yeah.
that's how he
yeah.
ended up.
In general terms, you end up like it's more that very rarely do you go, oh fuck, I thought you were going to be awesome and you're an absolute prick. It's usually you thought you were a bit of a dick and then you meet them and usually you
Actually,
like them.
Good dudes.
Yeah.
You like them more
Yeah.
in general terms.
Have you found in my industry it's been funny because I'll meet people and then I go, oh fuck, he's like a really good rugby league player, a really good AFL player, and they're like, fuck dude, you're a jockey. I fucking want to be you, man. I'm like, dude, I want to be you. We need to swap jobs. Like,
Yeah.
but that it's really weird. You get that vibe off people.
I think with athletes, you underestimate the pressure. Not even just famous ones. That's just like track and field and that. Like I'm great mates now with a guy called Al Stevenson, who was like a 1500 meter national champion, like 2003 or whatever. And but I give him shit now, going, you're an arsehole, man, back in the day. But he was training under a squad with remember Nick Bedeau, who trained Kathy Freeman and stuff. And it was all a very siege mentality kind of coaching where you just didn't talk to these guys, and they were kind of, you thought they're fucking assholes.
Yeah.
These guys. And Al's a great guy, but like, I know a bunch of people like that. I'm friends. I'm classic for being friends with athletes sort of post career more than during their career, just because it's easier.
Well, you see that on the interviews, like when someone famous, like a famous boxer, wigs out, like Eminem and all. Two famous people when Eminem went on hot boxing with Mike Tyson.
Did you ever see it?
I don't think I did.
And literally Eminem.
So Mike Tyson's got his own podcast, and he got the chance to interview Eminem, and Eminem absolutely wigged out. He's like, dude, you don't understand.
Yeah.
He goes, I know I was the biggest thing back in the 90s, he said, but I used to go to your fights. And he goes, I fucking loved you. You were the man.
And he's just wigging out.
He's like wigging out. I was like, it's really weird.
Fanboying out of control.
It was really weird. It was even awkward.
What was Tyson doing?
He's like, dude.
Tyson was love. All right, speaking of Tyson, how good's this fight going to be?
Awesome.
The Tyson fight.
Don't tell me you don't know about
Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones Jr.
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah.
Oh.
When
I was like,
sorry, yeah.
what?
Sorry,
What?
black spot. Yeah, when is it?
November, I think.
November, I think.
It's
I send Luke pictures all the time.
Where is it?
Abu
no one's in
It's
Vegas.
gonna be it's Abu Dhabi.
oh, is it really?
Yeah, isn't it called Fight Island or something?
No, that's the UFC one.
UFC.
But I think they
right.
can pass the laws to go and do it, and they're doing
Because
it. in,
Vegas is still nothing happening.
Nah.
Shut
I think
down.
it's overseas. They're
it
relying
really?
on pay per view. Yeah.
So there'll be no crowd.
No, there's no crowd.
no
yeah,
crowds.
no crowd.
that'd be-
Just entourage.
That'd be weird.
But I send Luke videos all the time because, like, say 10 months ago, he's like, I watch his podcast all the time. I don't know if you do, but and he's been on plenty of other like Joe Rogan and that sort of stuff. And he's like, I don't, it's one of those sort of things. I think like if you just say you walked away from radio, I walked away from being a jockey. He's like, I don't want to fucking ride a horse. Ever going to hate it, or I don't want to be interviewed by someone's boring. I don't want to interview someone. And he used to say that all the time. He's like, I don't have any aspirations at all to pick up boxing gloves and throw a punch and that sort of thing. And then all of a sudden, mate, it just changed.
Snapped.
Oh, it just changed.
Yeah.
And his demeanour
Well,
changed.
he in that Rogan podcast, he said his wife told him to stop being fat and jump on the treadmill.
Yeah, have a
and
fucking
he
go.
goes,
Who,
jump.
Tyson.
Yeah.
Tyson's wife goes,
Yeah.
stop being fat, jump on the treadmill for
Yeah,
15
yeah.
minutes. He did 2 hours.
He
And
said the
he
fir-
said
he
he
said
just snapped and went into his
You
zone.
see, the first day I did like 20
Jesus.
minutes, and then the next day I did 2 hours, and I never stopped once. He goes, it just snapped in my brain.
Yeah.
And when they were doing the contract for the fight, it wasn't like because he's changed a lot. Obviously, he's a lot better person than he was when he was back then.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
all for charity now. So
Oh, okay.
he goes, I'm fighting for these people, and they're going to get the benefit of this, like
Yeah.
the 20 million or 30 million or how much
Yeah,
it was,
right.
or something
But they're
ridiculous.
still animals.
But
Both
he's-
Roy Jones
but
Jr.
he's
and-
I don't think
training.
you ever lose that, right?
But he's training. I'm like, I sent videos to Luke. I'm like, fuck, there's no way in the world you get anywhere near this bloke when he's like that. Like, their fucking mentality is crazy.
He's like, do you want to know?
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
like 60 and
No, he's not 60. He's not that
I
old.
think 52.
Yeah, 52.
He's not getting fit. He's
Tyson's
getting ready to
52.
destroy it.
How old's
Yeah,
Roy
he's-
Jones Jr.?
It'd be the same. Hayden?
Oh, jeez.
I don't even think they were even in the same weight class.
No, they wouldn't be, would they? I don't fuck all about boxing, but
No,
I can't
neither do I.
imagine Roy Jones Jr. was like a...
Oh, no,
Tyson-
heavyweight.
Tyson was
I
a-
think he was like
Tyson
heavyweight.
was a
and Tyson
heavyweight.
He was a heavyweight.
Yeah.
He's 51, yeah. So,
Yeah, so it's
a
same
year
age.
apart, yeah.
But there's no way. And like they interview him and they're like, Tyson's like, are you going to take it serious? And Tyson's like, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's
I
not,
wanna
I'm
knock
not
his
going
head
in
off.
and fucking play out and fucking take him out. I'm like, holy shit.
He
And
is
that's
just
what gets
gonna win
people to
him.
want to watch it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
He still looks... Like, when you watch that, I've seen that vision of him, like, sparring. Like, he still looks powerful.
I sent Luke a picture of him with his shirt off, like, compared to like, he's been training for 18 months, but between 18 months ago and now, he's fucking ripped. Like, this bloke looks like a fucking machine. Like, it's...
He's not 51.
He
Like,
don't- no.
he is.
But he
jacked.
he went on Joe Rogan's podcast the other day, and he said it just flicked in my brain, and everything just changed. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden, his mentality with about the whole
Discipline.
and that's what it be.
Stop smoking weed.
And that's what he would have
stop doing
been when he was
everything.
younger. Like, he just had that mentality. Once you focus on something, it's fucking crazy.
Well, it would have been put into him from his coach.
Oh, he's brainwashed. Heavy
Yeah.
brainwashed when he's younger.
He did
Yeah.
full hypnosis on him.
Oh,
and everything.
hypnosis. He was terrible.
Really?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
read in his books. Oh, yeah,
Does
the
it
bloke
cost?
train. Yeah,
Yeah.
But I think any elite athlete
Yeah, they are.
that can flick that switch, even post-retirement.
Like, you're the best. You just can't,
they're
their
competitive.
body, you're the best.
Yeah.
You'll beat everyone. You're a fucking machine. You don't fucking no mercy on anyone. Like, it's crazy.
That
Yeah.
winning thing.
And that's what he's like that now. He's still got that. And he said it scares him.
Yeah.
Because he got that. He said it got me in a lot of trouble when I was
Yeah.
younger because, females and you can't treat females like that these days. But his wife's sweet. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's
He
crazy
loves
to
his
see
wife
it.
now.
Crazy to see
Well,
someone change like
you
that.
to jail. He was like,
Yeah.
got done
Yeah.
for rape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like big stuff.
Yeah, like the heavy shit.
He
yeah.
He didn't get fucked down with jail though. I think he.
I think he survived in jail.
Yeah, I wonder what happened in jail with him.
Maybe someone
I think he was good.
Someone was his bitch.
I think he was okay.
Speaking of winning attitudes, man, when I was doing your background as well, because it was funny. I've known you for so long now. I've never actually did research into your career. So, and the first year you won was in 1999.
So is this post party? What was it?
This was that
Before.
pre?
Party drink, repeat, or whatever the fuck
Yeah.
it was. Yeah.
And then you won your first Group 1 the same year, and that was
Same year.
no, it wasn't the same
No.
year. Oh, those facts
Just
are
only
wrong.
real late.
It was the
That was my first. No, your 99 was my first ever. I rode a winner.
yeah, and then your first big Group 1 was Seamus,
2014.
famous Seamus,
Famous Seamus.
famous
yeah.
Seamus.
Yeah.
Famous seaman as you.
Seaman.
He rode a horse called
Ron
fucking
Jeremy owned it.
he rode a horse called Spunk in My Eye, which won the Group 2. Fucking
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
famous
it, takes
Seamus.
it takes a long time to get to where you are. You know what I mean?
But what
It's
was
one of those things.
the prep for that, and and working your way up? Because you are pretty much it was before you went out hardcore putting, so you were still getting into the space.
Yeah.
You were trying to be a professional athlete, and then
I think at the start you try and be a professional athlete and then you lose your way. And I've seen a lot of kids do it. Like a lot of everyone's sort of they've had their little story where I went missing and I made a lot of money and I made bad mistakes and that. So we all make mistakes. We're all young, you know what I mean? It's like fuck if I don't see Justin Bieber or someone.
Yeah.
They got to fucking go through this stage where they ruin it all and then if
Yeah.
you're good enough you can still come out the other end sort of thing. And I think it makes you more determined. But like I said, I tell you guys all the time, from the age of like 21 to 27, it's just a fucking void. I don't remember shit.
I suppose the thing for my question was when you won that first Group 1.
Oh, it's surreal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's surreal.
And was there anything special to lead up? Like, what was the difference between that race and everything else?
I think, funny enough, on the day, there's something. I wouldn't say something special happened on the day, but it was a very big day. It was BTC Cup day and sort of thing. And I only had 4 rides on the day, and the first 2 rides leading up before the Group 1, they both won. And it's just one of those things. It's like you can't get your confidence level up any higher.
Yeah.
You can't feel it. Like if you ride 2 winners on the day, and I rode a Group 3 winner before the race, and which is still another big thing, but not as big as a Group 1. But your confidence high. I was like, not have that zero fucks attitude, but it's like I'd already ridden a Group 1 winner. Like it was like it didn't matter what happened in the Group 1. If it won, it won. It didn't matter. There was no pressure.
Yeah.
It was 20 to 1 shot.
Yeah,
There was no
right.
pressure. And then
20 to 1.
yeah, and then things happen. Things happen. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And you make the right decision. And obviously, because you're not putting yourself under pressure, you don't make mistakes.
Perform.
But and that might only be a small little thing to me or you. You might think that's silly, but for me, leading up to that, if I rode 2 horses and there were 2 races before and they both went shit house, or a fucking trainer give you a spray or something like, you're like, fucking you can't kicking the dirt. Oh, it does. It's a confidence thing. But that's just the way that went that day, and that's the way it happens. But
What did you do? You crossed the line, you fucking won. The crowd's going wild. Because I saw the photo.
I remember having tunnel vision. Actually,
What was the race again?
The BTC Cup.
BTC.
Oh, the
Yeah,
first
yeah,
Group 1 of the
BTC
Cup,
Cup.
yeah.
Oh, wow, okay.
I saw the
And-
photo of him, and it's just him looking there and just like scream, like,
Yeah, you just
out of
don't.
control.
I remember having tunnel. Like it might sound really weird because you never ever get this in a race, and people might think you do get that. But I had mad tunnel vision down the straight. It was like I seen the winning post, but I didn't like there was no other horse in the race. It's a really weird feeling. Maybe that's only just my memory of it, not what actually happened on the day.
Yeah.
But you had mad tunnel vision. Yeah, it's crazy. It's a little bit weird. Like probably too much adrenaline
Adrenaline.
at one time.
Yeah.
Yeah, they say you get like real euphoria before before you die or something like that, you get really crazy.
Yeah, wow.
Dopamines and stuff like that. Yeah. Don't feel
insane.
pain. Don't remember anything. Yeah, but it was good.
Yeah, it's pretty surreal, isn't it?
Yeah,
Like,
it's
it's actually
surreal.
really
Well,
amazing.
it's
Because
like,
I've never had a jockey, like even they do it in the interviews and stuff, they've never described how the feeling is when they're going across the line.
and I'm
I
sure.
always wondered,
and I'm
because
sure
I've won
these
races in my life.
And I'm sure these other jockeys that win 2 or 3 of them every year.
Yeah.
They
But
shoot
your
over,
first
isn't it?
one is...
But your first one is just it's there all the time. You know what I mean? You'll never forget that, and that was good.
So how long after the race, like you pulled up, and then what's the process of that? Because I'm still learning this shit as well.
Oh, you get interviewed after the race, like they interview you on the horse. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Bernie
Yeah.
Cooper comes up and interviews you.
right.
Yeah, it
On the horse, that's
goes
right,
straight
yeah.
to Channel 7 sort of thing.
Yeah.
But it's a good
So-
point that you make, because it's not as if like you've won a grand final
It's
and
weird.
then you can you've got to 35 minutes later you're on another fucking horse in another race.
Yeah,
right?
it means nothing. The
Yeah,
race
you gotta
before.
move
It
on.
does. It's great, but even it's weird. Like you go past the line and then another jockey that's close to you might say, "Oh, good on you, jock," or whatever, something. But you pull up down the back straight, and it's just fucking silence. There's no crowd. There's no fucking one there.
Next
Yeah.
round.
Everyone's bored. Like, and you just turn around and go,
It's kind of a
"Fuck, I can't believe that happened."
kind of nice in
Yeah,
some
it
way
is.
that you got.
And then
that.
obviously you get interviewed with jock, and then it kind of hits you a little bit. But it took me a good 24 hours that day. It was like, I remember me and Kate went for dinner like straight after the race. We just went for dinner on our own and just went home. I was like, man, it wasn't that great. Like, and I had to do a TV interview the next day, and they said, "What did you do last night?" I said, "I had a quiet dinner with my wife," and my daughter's like, I think it was like a 4th or 5th birthday the next day, in one of the parks there at Hendra. So I think I had 2 drinks. You know what I mean? It wasn't that.
was it.
Yeah, so it was really surreal. But yeah, it's a big thing in our industry, obviously, to ride one, even to ride in one. But if you're lucky enough to win one, it's really good.
But do you reckon like it's interesting that the time frame there? Like for me, I don't know. The thing with athletes, I've great admiration for the longevity of an athlete. Like because what you said there, you went through. You know, obviously you deal with some shit. And
Yeah.
it's ebbs and flows.
I think
but-
everyone does that.
And a lot of like what makes you a good athlete or a great athlete, whatever, is I think your ability to
Go through
navigate
that,
that,
yeah.
and actually come out
And-
the other side and have some longevity.
And you
know
do
what I
see
mean?
a lot of people that don't come out the other side. You know what I
Oh.
mean? But I like people's
Well,
stories.
most don't come through.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
like however many people started back in the day
Yeah.
when you were like a young fella just fearless like young
Crash and
rider.
burn, got
There's,
the
there's
rails.
a million of them.
Yeah.
So then
But
eventually you
you
only
see
get a
so
handful
many-
of you left, right?
Yeah, and you see so many other stories too, like and not so much in racing, but any other sports. Like you see these famous NFL players, and they become top of their game for 10 years, and next minute they walk away because they don't make it anymore, or they have to retire and that sort of thing, and they get CT and they
Yeah.
retire and they get depressed, and they kill themselves and
Yeah.
they drink and stuff like this. It's crazy, you know what I mean? So I think I'm not saying there's any blueprint to it all, but going through good times and going through bad times, then coming out the other end and having good times is a
Yeah.
lot better than just going, I was the best jockey in Australia and I rode 150 Group 1 winners, and then when you stop, there's none of that anymore. Like I've still got the drive to still want that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Where
yeah.
other people would be like, I don't give a fuck anymore. You know what I mean? It's hard to keep. It's a motivation thing.
Well, when you have those hard times, they make you realise that the fucking good times are amazing.
Yeah, and it's also like I heard like nothing again. Like Mark Philippoussis was a good athlete, right? He was a
Yeah.
tennis player and he made Grand Slam finals and things. But he made a comment during the weeks just saying, the thing with me is like I could have like Leighton Hewitt. I think he won a US Open and what did he win? Wimbledon. I think he
No,
did.
Australian
US
Open.
Open
No.
and
Was it Australian?
he won 2.
I don't know.
Whatever he won anyway.
Yeah.
So he won more than what the Scud won. But the Scud was kind of saying like, yeah, the thing with me is like I was sort of like I could have like I only was half-assed in it. Like I sort of like
Didn't do it, man.
I didn't just dedicate myself to
relying
like
on
the
their
other guys.
ability too much.
So I didn't
Yeah.
get. But I was like, well, that's to me. I was like, that's a cop out because like
Yeah.
what makes you a great athlete is the fact you do fucking turn up every day.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
And do it every day.
It's
And
that
that's why
discipline.
Leighton Hewitt won 2 Grand Slams and why Philippoussis didn't. And that's why Leighton Hewitt, in my opinion,
do
is
you
a better
see-
athlete than Mark Philippoussis. So
You
like,
see
anyone
that about
can-
these other like tennis players now, like these bad name ones.
Yeah.
What are their names?
Kyrgios.
Kyrgios. And all these.
Kyrgios,
Like,
yeah.
they've got the ability to do it, but they fucking don't, sort of
Mm.
thing. And that fucking shits me a little bit. Like,
Insta famous, mate.
oh yeah, but
Well, it's
they're
like whatever. I kind of
yeah,
get.
but have a go. If you want to have a
Yeah.
fucking go, if not, fucking retire.
As long
Exactly.
as
Yeah.
as long as Kyrgios understands, like whatever, do whatever the fuck you want to do. Like no one says you got to go turn up to training twice a day for fucking rest of your life. If you don't want to do that, if you want to be a half-assed tennis player,
Yeah.
do that and get to a fucking number 17 ranking and fucking still make $20 million. Like
Yeah.
I don't care, do that, but it's sort of like don't
It's a cop
don't
out.
go like, oh yeah, I could
coulda
have.
done
coulda.
more.
I could
Yeah,
have
all right,
been
mate.
fucking Federer.
But
No,
that-
you couldn't have because what made Federer great was the fact that
He
he,
did
didn't
it.
fucking
Crack.
do that. He
Yeah.
turned up every day.
He did it.
And you got to have the mental strength to fucking keep going.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
it's mental strength, and it's a cop out.
And they'll say that about many jockeys. They're like, and I can't even describe one to you off the top of my head, but just like, you meet someone and you go, and I kind of might know him, but back in the day, they said, he's a fucking good jockey back in the day, but he ended up being an alcoholic. You know what I mean? Or something like that.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. But it's just hard mentally to keep going. And I think there's a really big thing, and people don't realise in racing too, is adrenaline rushes all the time. Look at those.
Oh,
Adrenaline rushes. So I have 5 rides on Saturday, adrenaline rush, and then it's all fucking stopped.
Mm.
And then once you stop doing it for the rest of your life, it's so easy to get depressed and stuff
he's
like
going
that.
to start base jumping as soon as he
I
fucking
need to start-
retires.
Because
Because like,
Don't start base
you
jumping.
think
No,
about
no,
it,
it's
just
fine.
full adrenaline stuff.
Yeah.
I can
I know.
totally understand.
There's a void. There's a massive void that has to be
When you stop.
filled, and it's and the other point is that with athletes, most different sports, it's like everyone goes.
Because
oh,
you're dating Emily, and she's an Olympic athlete,
yeah, right.
a
So
swimmer,
she's a perfect example,
and
right?
she's going through those trials at the moment.
Yeah, so she's got like potentially Olympics next year if they happen.
Yeah.
And for her, that'll probably be her last. It'll be her fourth, which is like almost record breaking. Like Liesl Jones is the only Australian swimmer to have been a 4
Really?
Olympics. So like if Em goes next year and Kate Campbell goes next year, those two will be 4 as well, male and female. Like it's just unheard of, right? So that's that longevity
crazy.
thing I was
It's
telling
crazy.
about, and that's like trials and tribulations, making teams. But it's like. It's it's like, but then it's like, okay, then she's like washed up, right? Her
Yeah, what do
career's
you do
finished.
next? Yeah.
She's fucking 28 years of age.
It's
I know.
crazy.
Like my career hadn't even started when I
Yeah.
was
So that's it.
28.
I don't remember anything. Then 27 it started.
Yeah.
It's might as well not have been a jockey before then.
That's what I'm
I might have
saying.
just been partied. I don't know why I was a jockey.
you were just
I
making
needed I
headlines.
needed to
But-
pay to get to that stage.
But the whole thing is though, you had pushed through that, and then you got that one break, that one chance that fired everything off.
Is mental a big thing in swimming as well? Because they have to train.
Oh, like
anything.
extra-
I
it's
feel like
pain.
anything you have to do is to train. Like mine.
Swimming, you're staring at a black line.
I think swimming
in
more than any
silence.
other sport. Like
Yeah.
I'm more of a track and field
Yeah, me
like,
too.
buff than swimming, but I think swimming.
See,
more,
my mental thing.
swimming more than any. It's the most boring fucking sport in
Yes.
history to
You're on-
train
You're on
for.
your own.
Yeah.
You're on. There's nothing. There's
Underwater.
nothing to hear. There's nothing. You literally just go up and down like every day of her life since she was 14. Like track and field, like it's kind of fun. Like if you're a middle distance athlete in track and field, it's social. Like you know, it's fucking tough.
I loved it.
If you're doing 400s and fucking, you know, the half hour leading up's fun. You're warming up and you're doing this shit, and you might go for a 2K run or whatever. And then you come back. It's a fun experience.
hear the crowd.
The swimming doesn't have that. There's none of that in swimming. It's just fucking.
So did she
up-
find it hard to mentally keep strong to keep?
Of
I think the
course.
training thing of it. Like for me, it's like everyone says.
Training's always the hardest.
Everyone says, how do you consistently keep your weight down? And I said, it's a fucking bore and it's a
Oh,
tedious
it's the
job.
most- yeah.
It's the hardest. I said, riding horses is the fucking easiest part.
Yeah.
Like I'm naturally gifted enough to do it, and I'm okay at it sometimes, which is great. But the leading up to the riding and getting the weight down is fucking putrid. And no one would see what Emily does
No.
from year 1 to year 4 to get to the Olympics is fucking stupid.
Yeah.
What they got to put themselves through and mentally keep strong to get. At the right,
And at the moment, you got the situation where they're training for something
they don't know what's
that
going to be on.
may not
That's
even
crazy.
Yeah,
happen.
that's insane.
They
for
need
the-
a goal.
For the
Yeah.
last year, they've had no goal.
Yeah.
Like so,
crazy.
like every single athlete. But I've been more privy to the swimmers because of her squad and everything.
Yeah.
But there's a whole heap of sports right now that we're going, and this isn't like
What are we
there's-
doing?
There's no money.
No.
Yeah.
There's there's been no earning capacity for swimmers for 12 months. Like
I know.
other than whatever
Can't they
measly
get
funding
sponsored
they
or
get.
whatever?
But
Or
they
just-
can't. Like no sponsor wants to touch them because they're not competing. Like they're not in the papers. Like why would you? Like why would you go? There's been nothing for 12 months. So like you know you it's like this. It's like the sniff of a woolly rag, whatever. It's like this. They're living off nothing at the moment. And
It's
it's
crazy,
really
isn't it?
tough actually. And then again, it's like so now there's even in swimming there's this ISL thing in Budapest which is happening if COVID allows it to in about 3 weeks. And it's the only way swimmers can make money this year is to go there and do this. Like it's like a 2020 style.
It's like
swimming.
the Lenny thing.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like Lenny doing that shit. It's like this is
Go
what
over and do
ISL.
it.
Yeah.
ISL's like this.
Smack
Quick
it out.
races. They smack
Yeah.
out. There's lights. It's a fucking DJ. It's really cool.
Yeah.
You know, franchises. Lots of
Yeah,
bullshit.
yeah.
And it's cool, but you know, and Swimming Australia's like, oh, no, you can't go. And it's like, what? There's no money. Like, gotta fucking.
They gotta make
put
money.
food on the table. We're not talking. There's nothing.
And that's big money. Like,
Well, for them it is. It's
Yeah.
like you could make 30 or 40 grand US, which is huge money in swimming.
So at
Absolutely.
least in my business, I can make money. Like she's got to train and be the best she can be. And if she doesn't make fucking nothing, mate.
No.
no.
That's fucking.
and if she
crazy.
doesn't keep
It's
training
tough.
and they turn it on, out the door because it's so competitive as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. At no point is money ever would. It's not a. It's,
Well, you
it
don't
plays
get, you
no
don't get
part
a
in
base
it.
salary. You're not
Yeah.
you're not on. There nearly should be like a Tour de France team. You should be on a team, and they should be paying you a wage.
Well,
you
that's
should be
what-
training.
That's what there's ISL's working towards that.
Ah.
Like her team in ISL is called Energy Standard. I don't even know what it is. I think it's like a Russian-based like
Sponsor.
energy
Sponsored.
company. Yeah, it's like you know,
Red
it's like,
Russian Red Bull. It's got cocaine in it.
I have no idea.
We don't do drug testing in this event.
Why are they so good at swimming? Like running on top of the water.
They run on the water. It's the most amazing sport you've ever seen. Yeah.
Well, that'd get a lot of pay-per-view. I think that it comes back no matter what industry in though. Those little like key things that when it's shit, you're still doing the work and it gets you through it to that opportunity that's you're going to get somewhere. Yeah. You know? And nothing, everyone was
just mentally straining. I just don't understand how they do it. Like,
man, it's tough.
Yeah. I'm self-employed, but I get paid. And the more I work, the more I get paid. Where it's be like leading up to a race every week. If I don't win that race, I'm not getting paid. So that's their sort of. I really feel for them sort of people because you know what they go through and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, except you're the one. No, don't worry. I forget that.
I was just going to say, like, what do you think of that? I think I don't even know, and I don't think Emily even knows. But like, we try to work out if you win an Olympic gold medal for Australia, you would presume, right, that it's like a
getting
but
paid.
you're not. You don't really. Do.
I think you used to get. I don't think it's even that much. You used to get $50,000.
Because I remember that people selling their gold medals, like
happens all the time.
Yeah.
Michael Diamond did it. The shooter did it. Like sometimes they sell them and like someone's nice enough to
buy them,
give it back. That happens a lot, but didn't like Michael Diamond sold his for I don't even remember what it was. I think it was like 30. I can't remember, but it was like it wasn't a crazy.
But yet,
amount.
if she was in America and she was an American, totally different story.
If you're Michael Phelps or it's like it's the top like fucking
1%
percentile.
But she's nothing.
In that. Yeah, but
she's in Australia. And we're 7 million people.
When you think about back in the day, athletics, when John Landy was trying to break the 4 minute mile, he was on a way. I read his autobiography, and he was on the way to the stadium, and there was a traffic jam of cars trying to get there. It was like horse racing, except people were watching people. And he had to park his car and run to the fucking stadium.
How far?
Like 2 miles or something. That was his warm up. Got changed, ran it. Like, it was just unbelievable. And they used to do that for all the sports. And now it's... what is it?
It's kind of like, It's another level to those sports that where you just, like, money doesn't even come into it. You're doing it just out of pure love. And that's the only reason you could possibly be doing it.
That's hard to be dedicated to something you love doing that you know you're not going to... I know money... For me, I love riding and I'm sure she loves swimming too, but it's money... you still need to... live.
Of course,
pay for yourself
and everything,
Yeah, and you want to have kids and stuff like that and have a family. And
it's always hard then because, again, as an athlete, you kind of... I know rugby league players there's another level that they get played, like AFL players and everything, but I've always it's kind of funny to think of, everyone's going, like Darius Boyd, for instance, who I think is playing, as we do this, he's playing his last game tonight. Everyone's like, you should retire, you mug. Fucking blah, blah. It's like,
they're into
what would you do? Like, what would you do? It's your job, right?
Dude, if someone offered you $800,000 and you're half washed out, you're gonna play.
If someone said to me, if I'm doing a radio show and someone said, look, you're getting paid, you got another year in your contract, $800,000, but look, you're slipping away a bit. Like,
so I'll just ride it out for one more year.
Give up. I'm going to go, you know what? I'm going to stop doing this and get on the unemployment benefits next year instead of getting $800,000 to be fucking mediocre. Like, of course you're going to do it.
Absolutely.
It's their career.
Last one, yeah.
I'm a heavy person. Like, you got to retire, And I was a little bit of a bagger of him as well. But then when I found out in the...
No, I bagged him as well. Don't worry about that. But when you think about it, it's like as if we do it, right?
I found out he's getting $800,000 a year. Mate. I'm like, dude, why wouldn't he be fucking playing? I didn't know he was getting that much money.
If he rejected that offer, he's fucking stupid.
Yeah, I know, like,
because he's got a family.
He's got a couple of kids. Feeding kids. Yeah. Like, I know, whatever.
Because after he's done that, there's no guarantee what he's doing.
Back to the original point, you're mid-30s and like you fucking retire. Like, what do they do next? And the reality is that 90% of them are fucking get a trade and start digging ditches again, and that's what happens.
And there's very few who get onto interviewing or whatever.
Or blah blah blah. But that's that many.
So what does she want to do when she finishes?
Who am?
Yeah.
Well, it's a good question.
But has she ever said?
Well, she got aspirations to do some sort of media related stuff. And
I think
like
that's easy when they're that good to
swim schools and things like that. But
swim school would be right.
Yeah, but she doesn't really know yet, which is kind of cool. I like the fact she's not like not.
Well, she's so focused still.
Yeah, exactly.
She doesn't want to think about that because you can't think about that when you're doing what she's
100%.
doing.
Well, exactly, because you've got to be 100% invested in it. Otherwise, you're wasting your time. Yeah.
Well, you're not going to be the best. You shouldn't be in the sport, especially that level.
You shouldn't be. You just can't be. You wouldn't be. Like, you start losing and.
But look at Susie.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Like, so she retired 20 years ago.
20 years ago.
Yeah, she retired after the Sydney Olympics.
Oh my god.
And she did.
I remember watching her. Like
just a gun.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. But like that's 20 years ago, and she's still. I mean, she's been.
What did she do in those 20 years before?
Well,
she started
exactly.
radio?
She's been on radio. I think I don't even know. I think 6 or 7 years now. She's been doing stuff
That
with
long
us.
as well.
But like there was a whole decade there where
she did nothing.
like. You
Up in the air.
Well, she was doing stuff, but
Up in the
didn't
air.
really know what the fuck was going on.
Have you asked her that? You should ask her that on radio.
Well, I've had conversations off air with her.
Yeah.
Which are probably
Yeah.
better than the on air ones because you end up because she literally sits like this.
Well,
far
she was a
away
mum
from
as well, so she's probably had her
Yeah, she
kids
had
after
kids
the
and-
sport. Yeah.
Yeah, she's done heaps
And people
of stuff.
don't
but-
realize too when you do it like the same with them. When you do a sport like that, there's like they don't want to really to fucking jump into something straight away. It's like, dude, I need 2 years to just do fucking
Everything.
nothing. Like,
Exactly.
Luttsy, let's
Yeah.
go overseas and go holidays. Let's do
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's all I've done.
He's
is
been
just
so
focus,
disciplined for so long.
Yeah.
Haven't been able to do all the fun things.
Eat whatever you want to eat.
Yeah,
Not
and-
train.
yeah,
you know.
and just relax.
just
like, yeah,
relax.
that's what I want to try and just relax with her for a couple
Yeah.
of years. But because you're right. Because like,
Yes.
and I think Susie.
Because mentally, it fucks
Yeah.
with your head, and you
Yeah.
need to reset, and then maybe she'll work out what she wants to do. But like, I bet you've asked Susie if she was going to be on radio in fucking 20 years' time, she'd say you're fucking mad.
She would have
With
she
you.
would have literally said that. She would have looked at us on a pool deck 20 years ago
fucking idiot.
and gone, if you think I'm going to
With
be
this guy
fucking
that's-
getting up
with
in the
the-
morning and
with
being
this
radio, you two clowns.
How did she
would-
swindle the name
She would have
first?
laughed. She would have laughed at that.
Imagine 20 years ago, she's got a gold medal there, and then they go, "Oh, you see this guy that's on the
And we-
radio,
and we
in the radio
and we
station in the
would've
middle,
been
in the
pool
middle,
deck.
in the middle of the shopping
Hyper
centre.
shopping
I-
centre.
You're going to be working with him."
Should have gone, oh my God, my life's
I'm
turned shit. What the fuck happened to my life? Yeah, that's that. I always have that moment where where you can go like, okay, here's what you'll be doing. Here's a 3-second window of what you'll be doing in 20 years from now. And
Crazy.
just show that. And so for me, it'll be, oh, fuck, I'm with Susie anyway. How good. For her, it's like,
Yeah, when I met
what the fuck? Fuckhead. That's what it would have been like for
Yeah,
her.
100%.
But, yeah,
I
it's
met
okay.
Luke. He was working at Ralph Lauren.
Yeah.
20,
First met-
20 years? What, how
No,
long
20
ago?
years ago. 10 years ago. Ralph Lauren.
Really?
And
Hey,
now
no,
he owns his own business.
seven.
Well, hang on.
To
So what,
the
you were,
7 years ago.
Yeah, it was 7 years ago.
what, so you
Oh, no.
You walked in
No, it
trying
was
to
10. It was
No.
10 years ago.
I didn't wear Ralph
So
Lauren.
you
no.
walked in trying to find some like
It was 10.
medium
I was actually working-
medium range
Their
menswear.
shirts
I actually
don't fit
worked
me, bro.
for Oriton, which is the handbag company, and I was the only straight male in the company, and I used to just sell handbags to women because
Yeah.
there was no bullshit. I was just
Well,
like,
that one in the city.
yeah.
Yeah.
wow,
And then
okay.
Ralph Lauren was next door because they owned the license, and
Well,
that's how I met his
My
wife.
wife was his boss.
Yeah,
At Oriton.
Yeah.
yeah.
Really?
And we just all met up, got along with the house and fine, and
My
then
mate's-
two of
my
my best
mate's
friends.
ex-wife used to work there.
Wasn't it?
No, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Anyway,
She used to talk about Luke all the
Slick
time.
Nick
She'd
Hill,
go,
the basketball.
talk about this guy Luke all the time. I'm like, who's this fucking bloke you're working with? He works at a female, but he's not gay. I'm like, what's going on here?
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
something,
something's going on here.
Something doesn't line up there. What he's selling handbags, he's not gay. What is he selling?
you go to
He's
meet-
a drug dealer.
It was great. They come in and be like,
You
you
go to
look
meet
fu-"
him there, you go, he's slaying bitches. All these bitches are buying these.
It's like, yeah. he's
No, but I was just
Milks
like,
everywhere.
Yeah.
literally just like, that looks
Yeah.
fucking hideous. And they're like,
Yeah.
and they're like
That's what he's doing. He's going, buy this handbag, then touch my dick. Touch my dick. Buy the handbag, touch my
Open
dick.
handbag.
You know what? Touch my dick, then buy the fucking handbag. You're not buying the handbag until you touch my dick.
Look what's inside the handbag.
it's like that popcorn chicken in the movies.
Reach into the
Want some more
handbag.
popcorn,
Just
baby?
reach in the fucking handbag. I'll give you 10% off if you reach in the handbag now.
Oh my god.
We still might see Luke on the news sooner or later.
Right, so
Jay,
you're out of retail.
Out of retail.
Oh, he's not really.
Well, no,
Well, no, you're not, but yeah,
we're
sorry.
manufacturing
Yeah,
now,
yeah,
and
yeah.
so
Yeah, those days are over.
yeah,
But see, if you told Luke back then that he'd own his own company and do what he's doing now.
I always knew I was.
Oh, Luke
I
was-
always knew I was.
See that? Yeah, that's cool.
So even when I started the Bearded Chap, I was working from 2 p.m. till 2 a.m. in the
He
morning.
worked in a bar.
Yeah, because I wanted to own a bar one day, which I've done, and I wanted to know how everyone could steal from me,
Yeah.
and I learnt that way. And then from I had 4 hours sleep, and then I'd start work at 6 and work till 1 on the Bearded Chap.
Yeah.
And I did that for a whole entire year.
Mm.
And that was it. But I always knew that I wanted to start the business. And my first business was called Beer Injection Systems. And because I did college in the US
Beer what?
as an athlete.
Yeah.
Beer what?
Beer Injection Systems.
What's that?
So I made
The
this
pipes, mate.
fuck off beer bong that you could drink a 6-pack in about.
How is that not famous now? Like, not popular now?
I sold maybe like 20 grand with it and then just shut it down because, yeah. That was when I was 19. That was my first company. And you could drink a 6-pack in about, well, if you were good, like under 10 seconds. It was disgusting.
Yeah, there's like
So you had
this.
6 things, and you flick the switch.
One big pipe, and it was just a big ball valve, and you fill up the whole thing and just smack it. You have a bit of a lead pipe, so it'd give you a second to get ready, and then it'd just smash you. And it was
Beer to chat beer pong.
beer injection systems.
Yeah,
Beer
beer
bomb.
beer
So
Beer bomb.
here's a question. So if like presumably like I can't do it, I feel like I think this is gonna get weird now. I think I've got a gag.
That's weird. Isn't
You're touching your throat.
I think
Gotta get weird now.
like if you asked me to drink this, I think I've
Sit.
got a gag reflex, right?
Yes.
Which means I've got to.
How was that one?
Forex pay you.
So like
That's a new
Mate,
Forex GIF on there.
I can't just open the gullet and just let,
Let it
it
go
pour
down.
in.
Yeah.
So is there a limit to? So you're saying there's a 6-pack essentially.
Smacking
Some
it
guy
down.
could just go and just
Till it
let
starts coming
let
out of
it
your nose.
flow in. How much can you take before it literally starts
Comes out
coming
your
out of your
nose.
fucking orifices?
Depends on who the person is.
Well, is there a record or like?
Oh.
I don't know.
don't know,
Bob
like
Hawke hold a record? Bob
But you know what I'm
Hawke.
saying? Like
Yeah,
how much booze can you just? Because you see guys that can get a pint glass. And
I
just
can smack a
literally-
beer down really
See,
quick.
I can't do that.
Yeah,
I literally
but-
got a gulp as I just.
Yeah.
I see.
As I just
I see. It's a little bit embarrassing.
Fuck off. You've been drinking that
Yeah, I know.
fucking same beer all
Come on,
night.
Emmy.
Well, on that
yeah,
note,
fair
gents,
enough,
thank you so much for time. We've been over 2 hours now, so we'll wrap it up because I know you're going to
That
get out
went
here.
quick.
I know, dude. Thanks so much, Luttsy, and thanks so much,
No worries.
Ligo, as well. Really appreciate it. We'll get you back on another time later
you
on
want
as
it, mate.
well.
Okay.
Yeah, awesome.